What's okay? We're going live in a couple seconds. What is going on, brothers? What is going on? It is your dude, Mr. International Passport, here again for yet another feature classic live stream. First and foremost, though, if you can hear me loud and clear, press a one in the live stream chat. Tony, how's my audio, bro? Is it good?
Your audio is good, brother. Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother, for confirming that. Now, for you guys watching live wherever you are around the world on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, let me know by pressing one in the live stream chat if you can hear me loud and clear. Baseball Clips, Aussie, thank you very much for confirming. So, let's get straight into it. Okay, let's get straight into it. First and foremost, thank you very much for the support over the past couple of years. Almost 10 years on YouTube. Time flies, man. Time flies. But we got a lot of work to do. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony. And of course, welcome aboard the new people. I accept and I embrace you with open arms. When you come on the live stream today, please like the video. Likes are very important. Share the content. Hit the super chats. Hit the PayPal. Join the Patreon as well for intel on crypto and stocks. As you know, I do a lot of research on that. And of course, Python course coming July 2024. Don't you miss that, okay? Theo will be teaching AI next year. And the only way to get into Theo's AI course is to do my Python course, okay? We are setting you up, brothers, for success. So please join that Python course. Aside from that, please cop the merch, and of course, please show some support any way you can, and book your IT consultations with me for IT guidance. Okay, so let's get straight into it, brothers. Now, before I get Mr. Tony to introduce himself, if you have been an OG viewer on this channel, okay, if you've been watching it for the past, let's say 5 years, 8 years, you would know that Tony's been on here before. And he's given us some gems in regards to different countries. Now he's back again, okay? And he is living the life in Japan. But before we break down IT, how he did it, life in Japan, woman in Japan, etc., let's get Tony to introduce himself for everyone else on the channel. Tony, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good, brothers. I just want to say a special shout out to UIP for getting me back up on this platform, man. Yeah, I'm Tony Berry, brothers. I go by Tokyo 64 too. Either way is good. I just do a walking channel in Japan. So any brothers want to see what Japan is like every day, just Tokyo 64. But this is about IP, brother. This is about the brothers, man. I I'm I just moved to Japan a year ago, exactly June 18th. I was working in IT for like 12 years. I had changed jobs, went from sales to IT, man, because I wasn't making any money in sales. So I went back to school, and then I got into IT, and then I started, making money. Had to start off using doing contracts and whatnot. It took me a few years to get some permanent employment. Once I got the permanent employment, I started investing, man, in my 401k, IRA, whatever people want to use. And those investments started growing. So that's what I've been doing. That's what got me to Japan right now.
Awesome. Tony, welcome back, brother. It's been a long time, and I'm sure there'll be some people on the live stream chat who recognize you and will give you your flowers and your props for the intel you've given in previous years. So, Tony, let's get straight into it. That was a great intro. Okay, a fantastic intro, Theo. Oh, sorry, Tony. I remember back then, but I used to get you
No
and Theo
problem,
mixed
bro.
up.
I don't mind being associated with Theo, man. I love that brother, man. No problem at all. That is not a problem.
So, Tony, congratulations on retiring in Japan. Okay, so before we break down the Japan aspect of the stream, brother, tell us how you did so, brother. So I say my first question to you, brother, is, um, obviously, brother, you are an American. Okay, you saw
Yes.
you've seen America change throughout the years, brother. What is America doing wrong in 2024 or last year when you left it that made you say, "Oh wow, I'm leaving for Japan as soon as possible"? Break it down for me, bro.
Yes. As you brothers already know me, I'm a history buff man, and I follow the wealth. I always follow the numbers. And I was living good in America before I moved, so it's not like I ran away from America. Um, but America started to show its true colors. I noticed a lot during the pandemic when I saw a lot of like whites in my neighborhood because I live in a neighborhood of 98% white. I didn't know it was going to be like that. I moved into a new neighborhood, a new development, if you will, back in 2017. Um, but I started to notice that a lot of people were struggling, and mainly people, black people. Okay, I want to call it what it is, black people, because that's what I. And you're gonna say people of color, but look, black people, because I'm black and a black man, and I focus on my brothers because my brothers are the ones that are going to be providing for families. The brothers break down, the families break down, nobody's going to get the money. So what I noticed is that there was a lot of blacks out there working on the front lines, getting COVID and whatnot. My uncle died of the COVID, but I noticed a lot of whites were standing in line at Home Depot with me, spending a lot of money to keep their homes well kept and whatnot. And I was like the only brother in that line. So, I was always following numbers. I put two and two together, and I realized that even though I was living well in the States, I wasn't wealthy as wealthy as I wanted to be. Because you can have a good job, but that doesn't mean you're wealthy, right? You can have a good income, but that doesn't mean you're wealthy. You can be making well over six figures a year like I was, but that doesn't mean you're wealthy. If you're in the right situation, you could be wealthy. But when you're just working to get that money, you're not wealthy. You're just a high income earner, right? That's what it is. The whites have the wealth. The average white household have the wealth compared to the average black household. So I started looking at those numbers. The average black household, you holding about 200 something thousand dollars in the average. I mean, the average black. So that means that most blacks in the United States don't have that kind of money. The ones at the top that have all that money kind of make that kind of even it out, if you will. And it's not that many at the top. But the whites are averaging about $1.3 million, man, in wealth. That's a big difference. And blacks lost out on that money after World War II. A lot of black veterans were denied those good benefits that the whites got to build homes, to start businesses, to go to school, those types of things. They was kicking brothers out of the service, man, for something as silly as getting a question wrong on a test or saying something back to somebody that they didn't like. So just so they would deny us benefits, so they was making it harder for us to get those benefits, right? So we missed out on the middle class grab. We missed out on that new deal that Roosevelt put out that was supposed to help everybody out. Everybody need to know that America didn't really become a middle class until after World War II, because before that you were hustling. So fast forward to this year, 2024, what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a lot of blacks hustling. And the hustle is you just pretty doing these side jobs, a couple jobs here and there. It's not a career, it's a job. And that's a big difference. So I put two and two together, and I told my wife, I said, look, we would be better off in Japan with this money that we have. Because I discovered that I hadn't paid attention to this investments I made like 20 years ago in Saudi Arabia. And I was checking one of my emails, and they was like, hey, we've been trying to get a hold of you. And I was like, oh my goodness, I forgot all about this. I checked an older email address I had actually. And I started looking in there, and I realized that my dividends were growing or had grown a lot from those little investments I put in because, I had sold off some stock, but I kept my ETFs, I kept the mutual funds, and I just kind of like, well, they're not going to do nothing anyway. No, they did do something. So coupled that with what I was making in my 401k and my IRAs, that generated enough income for me to be able to live, in Japan on dividends. So that's how I came to be over here.
Wow, brother, incredible, bro, incredible. So, well, we have lots to unpack there. I think when you mentioned about how tough America is for black men, bro, it's insane, bro. I think although the Western world talks about liberty, equality, from what I see, brother, in certain parts of Canada, in the UK, in America, and other Western countries, black men are doing poorly, brother. And when it comes to health, wealth, and prosperity, let's keep it real, Tony. I see it every day in the UK. And if you check the stats in the UK stats as well, black people have low home ownership. We rent the most. We are on social housing the most. We get paid the least. Brother, Tony, would you agree that it's hell for black men in the West, brother? It's hell.
Yes, it is hell, and I know like brothers like Theo and you are trying to get brothers more income and trying to put get brothers more of a perspective of what they need to make. But brothers, I'm here to tell you that is not enough. I mean, that's a big help what these brothers are doing for you. But that you got to go beyond that. What you need to be doing is you need to be working. If you get those high paying positions, and then you need to invest as much as you can, invest to get those dividends to grow. Because what you need to do, brothers, you need to wean yourself off of depending on somebody else to get a job. In other words, you need to wean yourself off of working for somebody, because those people you're working for, they're running your life, they're running your schedule, they're telling you what time to be at your house, what time to be home, play with your kids, what time to be with your wife, what time to get up in the morning. They're telling you that. When you don't have to worry about that anymore, you're totally free. Look, England, America, all these Western countries, they really don't give a damn about a brother, because they've made so much money off of us. England, the Empire of England and America, they got rich off of the blacks. I'm sorry, the backs of our black ancestors here in the United States, because they didn't pay us nothing. We literally fed two, three, maybe four empires just off of that labor alone. No country can get as rich as the United States without exploiting labor. Nobody can do that. Nobody. See, so brothers are still suffering today, and what they don't want you to know, and they always focus on this on the news, media, and everything. They focus on the income, the income, the income, the job situation. But what they need to start putting out there is the wealth information, because when they put out the wealth information on individuals, or just on the narrative, the collective itself, then brothers and everyone will start to realize just how poor you really are, even when you're working, because every one of us out there that are working are just a job away from losing it all. Like I said, in IPC, we said this before. A white boy loses his job, he's like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna go to Europe for a year. I'm gonna chill. And then when he get back, he walking down the street. He get a guy that he just seen at Starbucks saying, "Hey man, I got a job offer for you." And he said, "Okay, well, can I take it in 3 months?" He said, "All right, we'll hold it for you." He's building, he's working on his house, getting his house better. Then he goes back to work. As soon as a brother loses a job, you got to get a job tomorrow, and it's going to take you a long time, especially with the way the world is nowadays. They're not hiring us as quickly as they used to. See, so that's the state of where we are today, brothers. That's sadly that's where we are. And so, with that in mind, knowing that you have to worry about your making a living, your income, and all this, and you don't have the wealth, guess what else goes south? Because you don't have time to worry about it. Your health. Your health goes. That's why you see so many brothers just dying of heart attacks, walking down the street, bam, they drop a dead. Because you don't have the time to think about that, because you got to focus so much money on your money. So that's what it's about. You're right. So the West ain't doing a goddamn thing for brothers, man. Nothing.
Absolute facts there, Tony. So, Tony, I want to praise you for having foresight here in terms of, so when you were working in Saudi Arabia, maybe in previous jobs, you were investing, Tony. So, Tony, can you please emphasize the importance of, yes, so the goal for black men is to get IT jobs, right? But what do you do with that money? With what you've done for your Tony in the past was invest in ETFs, was invest in stocks back in Saudi Arabia, back in the past, and that's actually paid dividends for you, brother, in 2024. So essentially, Tony, right, black men got to see the bigger picture here. Think about 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, start building towards prosperity and a future where your money can work for you, for your Tony. Was that what you thought of, Tony, back then when you were in Saudi Arabia? And how did you begin
Yeah,
investing like that?
yeah. So when I was in Saudi, so I was doing the .com bust, and I mean that's all I had to do, man. Over there was me and my friends. We would either play video games, go to the gym, or invest. We talked every day at work. We would always talk about, because we work with the Saudis, and my job was to teach the Saudis aircraft technology with what I did in the Air Force, which was my avenue over to Saudi Arabia. Um, they actually offered me three jobs, and I went over there, man. English teaching, two other jobs, and I took that one job that I felt more comfortable with. But so the money over there was good enough for us to invest. So a lot of brothers were investing in the stock on the .com, and then they started going south. .com bust happened. So, but I had also invested in, like, exchange traded funds, mutual funds, and I didn't know too much about ETFs and mutual funds at the time. Everybody was just focused on stock. Hey, Nvidia, Amazon, this, that, the other, right? So when they started looking like it's going to go south, I started selling off some stuff. A lot of brothers started selling this stuff off. Like, hey man, we got to get out of here because we don't know how much we're going to lose. Some brothers lost money. Some brothers barely made money during that time. Some brothers now wish that they hadn't sold some of those tech stocks off, including myself at the time. The ones that did make it. But a lot of brothers at the time were not looking at ETFs or mutual funds like I was, or index funds. They were just like, oh, I'm just going to work stocks. But I had a friend of mine from the Netherlands who was in the Air Force, who was over there with us. He said, "Hey man, you need to start looking at these other ones too because those are the ones that's going to get you." I didn't understand how they work, but I know now that they comprise an entire market. Like you can get an S&P 500 like a like a QYLD or an FXAIX mutual fund that will comprise a lot of holdings. Okay, and then those holdings are, they minimize your risk because somebody's managing that fund. So all you do is just invest in it and let them manage it, and you just watch that money grow. And some people are like, well, hey man, that ain't nothing happening, man. I'm losing money. You're not losing money. These are long-term investments. That's what they are. They're long-term investments. But at the time, I didn't know too much about investing, so I just did my stocks and sold them. I did the ETFs, but I kept them. And then fast forward to I think it was 2022 when I was just getting so discouraged with America. Even though I was living good, but I was always having to pay more money for this, more money for that, and I saw the window shrinking around us, and I knew that within 5 years it would shrink if I stayed in the same situation. So I got that email one day. I said, wait a minute, what the hell is this? I said, let me clean up my email. I went checking the email and popped it up, man, and it was with E Trade. And I was like, damn, what's this E-Trade thing? I didn't know. I forgot about this. And I seen a few of my mutual funds in there and some ETFs I had, and those dividends, man, had blew up. And I looked at on paper and I said, wait a minute, I can live off of these plus what I'm getting from my investments I made since I've been working. And that's what happened with me there. So, but yeah, it's a mess, brothers. It's a mess right now for brothers, man. You know what I'm gonna tell brothers right now, and you're gonna hear this for the first time on your channel, IP. In Japan, and I know we're not getting there yet, but I just want to throw this out there. You can move to Japan, and you can afford to live in Japan if you get some sort of stable income, and or if you're near retirement, because if I were you, I would sell all my stuff in my house. If you don't own a house, a lot of brothers don't, unfortunately. Sell all your stuff and just get the cash and get out of there, man. That's how bad the matrix is for brothers right now.
Damn. Whoa. Okay. Damn. Okay, Tony. And we'll definitely touch upon that very soon as to leaving the West, etc. etc. So Tony, next question for you is so it was last year when you decided to move to Japan, brother. You made that big step in your life, right? Um, how long was that process to actually permanently move to Japan, bro? Was that a couple months? Was that several weeks? Break it down for us, Tony.
Oh, that's a good question, IP. And I'm sorry, sometimes I get off a tangent, but I want to try to stay focused on this question that you asked me here. So, okay, so my daughter was born in 21. My uncle passed away in 21 before she was born. A lot of things, the pandemic happened, of course. It kind of led up to my decision. In 22, I think it was the beginning of 22, what got the ball rolling was I asked my father-in-law about the property that he owned, where he grew up at here in Georgia City, where I live. Because he has another property and he got the city, which is a bigger city, like 900,000 people. I live in a city of 180,000 people. And so there was an old house sitting on there and everything. And I asked him, said, hey, Pops, I told my wife, I said, look, why don't you tell your Pops I'm interested in that property? She got on the call because she was calling him every day anyway, and she told my in-laws that I wanted that property. Man, they were crying on the phone, brother. They were so happy that we was gonna leave that property in the family. And so my first thought was, okay, I'll get it. I didn't know when I was gonna be able to tear the house down to build, because I just was gonna build like a small, like a retreat kind of place for everybody to go stay there. Because it's on the hillside, like in the foothills, really nice little plot of land down the street from the birthplace of skiing in Japan. Literally, I can walk up that hill in 10 minutes. And so that was 22. And then the summer of 22, we then started. We had realized, we said, look, why don't we just move back to Japan? The U.S. is not really doing anything for us. My wife was getting treated like crap. You had the Asian hate thing going. Of course, you know how the situation with black people in the States. So the summer of 22 is when we really started to put that into focus. We started talking to a builder here. I started talking about buying more land here next to the land that my father-in-law already owned, so I can build a bigger home. Um, so I would say at the end of 22, we made it official when we came to Japan. We stayed here for like almost 3 weeks. We spoke to the builder. We looked at the property again, and then from then we was like, "Yep, we're moving back to Japan." So what we had to do, we had to then, well, no, that was December 22. January 23, I retired from my job. I was having so many issues at my job anyway. And I was like, because my plan was at first, brothers, was to keep my job and work in Japan and get that income. But I put some feelers out there. I was working for a credit union, and I put some feelers out. I said, "Hey, am I going to be able to work overseas?" And I kept getting a no on everything before I officially went to, my boss and asked. And so what I then did was, that was 22. Let me get back to 22. So September 22. So actually, in the summer of 22, because I'd already decided to move back by then, I started looking for other jobs. I started interviewing for other jobs. I was having some good interviews. I got ghosted on a couple of those interviews, but then one job actually called me back again, said I was a final candidate, but I didn't get that job. So then fast forward to September 2022, from the summer 22, then I decided, well, wait a minute. I had already discovered my dividends and whatnot that I found. And I said, you know what? I think I'm just going to live in Japan on dividends. So I just kind of held out to see if I could work this job I was at in Japan. I found out no. I retired in January of 23. We got the ball moving. I had to do what they call a certificate of eligibility to prove to the Japanese government that I can support my family. I applied for that. I got that back within 6 weeks. I went ahead and got my Japanese spouse visa. In the meantime, we had set up ways to sell our cars and to move our goods, our household goods, over to Japan. And so everything was picked up on May. We sold the cars in June, and the middle of June we moved back to Japan. So I would say it took us about a year, a little bit over a year, to get this whole thing planned out.
Amazing, bro. Amazing. So, Tony, so do you have property currently in the States, and or has that been sold off, or are you renting out via Airbnb or whatever, brother?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Let me tell you about property in the States. So, and everybody know the real estate market right now is not the best. But yeah, I forgot to mention that one thing. So in May of 2023, or 2023, yeah, last year, um, we had put our house on the market. We got a real estate agent in from Redfin, which is like the biggest, online real estate system or whatever in the world. So with they're along with Zillow and whoever else, but Redfin's a big one. So because I had spoken to a couple of agents before that. I remember there was a guy around the corner that was trying to sell his house. I saw the real estate agent on there, so I called her, and I talked to this woman back in December of 22, and she said, "Okay, thank you. I'm gonna get back to you. I'll give you my email. I'll send everything to you." She never got a hold of me or nothing, right? So I told my wife, I said, I don't want to go with her. I said, I'm going to go with an experienced real estate agent. So the guy comes in from Redfin. We told him what we wanted to sell our house for. He recommended we sell it for a little bit lower because they were still building newer homes in our development. And he said that you would be able to compete with those newer homes if you lowered your price by about 20 something thousand dollars. I forgot what it was. So we did that. Then we moved to Japan with the house just being in the market for like a month. In July of last year, we got an offer on the house, and the offer came in lower than what we wanted. I countered and I said, "Well, in fact, I told the real estate agent, I said, look, tell them I don't want to deal." I said, because my wife and I had no problem holding on to the property because we make enough to where we can keep the mortgage if we had to. So I told the guy, no, I don't want to do that. So the guy comes back with another offer, and then I countered on that offer, and I finally got what I wanted. The house sold last August, brother, and my wife and I got a crap load of equity off. So that's another thing that helped us out. That's helping us out is that equity from that house. And all we did was just reinvest that equity. We just boom, just reinvest it. Some people they like to they'll spend it, they'll blow it on this, that, the other. No, you get that equity, reinvest that equity because that's tax-free money. As long as you make, if you're a couple, as long as you make under $500,000 off the sale of your house in America, that's tax-free money. There ain't no 1040, no UB40. There ain't nothing to do with that. That's tax-free. That's your money. So that's what we did. So yeah, we did sell our house in the States.
Wow. So Tony, so that right now you have no ties to the States whatsoever, apart from family, no property, you sold all your stuff in the house. If you've gone all in Japan, Tony, that is brave, brother. I have to applaud you for that, Tony. Wow, you've completely washed America out your hands, bro. How does it feel to have that weight lifted up your shoulder?
It's unlike walking on air, brothers. And one thing about that though, the only thing I do have connected to the states are my bank accounts and my retirement accounts. That's it. And I'll if when brothers got credits on, then I can touch base on how that works. That's the only thing. But yes, brother, I got nothing to do with the U.S. whatsoever. It's like a burden off my shoulders. I tell you, man, I gave one funny thing that really helped me remember. I took my daughter down to Toyama City on the Shinkansen because my wife and son were at my son's soccer games. We kind of split up the responsibility between those. So me and my daughter, Daddy Day, we're out and we're in the elevator, man, getting ready to go to dinner. I'm getting ready to go get me some steak. And this American couple, white guy and his wife was in the elevator. They looked like they was about mid 40s. And they just looked at us and they said, "Oh, we left our kids at home." You know, Americans have a tendency to give away way too much information. And so I said, "Yeah, my son's home right now. He's playing soccer with my wife. We just kind of came down on the train for the day." And he said, "What? You live here?" You said, brother, the look on his face, I can laugh. I'm still laughing. He was so shocked. They're so shocked when they see a brother living in Japan, right? You know, away from the military bases. "What? You live here?" I said, "Yeah, we live in Japan, man." He said, "How you like it?" I said, "I'm loving it. You guys have a good night." And I was going to get my steak dinner, brother. Yes, it's worth it, brothers. It's worth getting out of the matrix. Yes, and it feels good not to have nothing to do with them. They can't hire me. They can't fire me. They can't take away my kids, my wife, my property, my money. They can't do nothing to me, brothers. I'm off the plantation, man. I'm off the plantation. That's what it feels like.
Amazing. Amazing, bro. Amazing. So now, great intro there, brother, about your life in America and moving to Japan. So now, life in Japan, Mr. Tony, as a black man with a Japanese wife and your kids, right? But I would say, brother, my first question to you is, how are you treated as a black man living full time in Japan, being retired there? Are you respected by the Japanese people, by the foreign people? Have you had any sort of racism towards you, brother? I think that's very important for us to know, brother.
Man, I love VIP, man. You asked some good questions, man. I'm surprised you're not on that CNN or that BBC channel, brother. Look, okay. Here's what we got going on with that, man. And the reason why I'm laughing, man, because I've had no problems over here. See, okay, I live in the city of 180,000 people, and I live on the Sea of Japan. So when you come to my city, you look at my city, you see how I live. This is not what you're used to seeing on YouTube in Japan, where you walking in the middle of Shibuya, Shinjuku, or Dotonbori in Osaka, Kyoto, whatever the case may be. This is the heart of conservative Japan. These people are the nicest people out here, man. They treat me like the utmost respect. I mean, like I go to the Starbucks. We have in my city we have 3 Starbucks, and this is my favorite one, the Castle Starbucks, man. And the brother's secret is when you go to Starbucks, they had a lot of pretty girls working there, and they all treat you good. They all remember me, man. I come here every week, man, like 2 or 3 days a week. When my son's doing something, I just drop them off and come here, and they remember what I want to drink. They know me well. It's like, yeah, it's beautiful, brothers. I don't have any problems here, man. Everywhere I go, like I said, I get treated respect. They treat me the same way they treat other people in Japan. They treat me the exact same way. I go buy my train tickets. They treat me the same way. I go to the store, same way. Starbucks, same way. Market, same way. Everywhere, any event I go to, I'm treated with the utmost respect, man. Because in Japan, when you're a man with a family, you're called a shujin, a go. I'm a go shujin. That is like a master of the house. So, in order for you, when a Japanese person sees you walk down the street with your family, they know that you mean business. They know that you are a successful human being because you have the capacity to support a family. In the West, they don't take that. They take it for granted. In Japan, that is a very heavy responsibility for a man, and you are treated with respect. When I bought my property, when I bought my land next to the land that we now own too, because my father-in-law gave us that land in September, he ceded it over to us. When I bought that property, I put that request in December 22. My father-in-law called the owner, told her the situation. I get there, I didn't get called the N-word or nothing. I didn't get no bad looks or nothing. That lady sat across from me. She put her stamp on all the documents. I put my stamp on the documents. She smiled at me. I smiled at her. We bowed to each other, man. And that was it. There was no, oh, I don't want to sell to him because he's this. No, she sold and I bought. So, brothers, I'm here to tell you, man, Japan is a beautiful place to live. It's very comfortable. I walk around here, man, like I said, I don't worry about nothing. I can walk down the middle of the street at 2 o'clock in the morning. I ain't worried about nothing. Nothing, brothers. I've never had to stop look over my shoulder in my life.
Wow.
So,
Incredible.
yeah.
Incredible, bro. Wow. So did you have another point to say? Sorry.
Yeah, so and I was also going to say, so now what you need to understand, living in Japan, and every place over here has something for everyone. Some brothers may not want to live in my area where it's conservative, where you have to really understand the Japanese culture. Um, some brothers are more familiar with the Tokyo scene, the Osaka scene. Those are just as good. I would have just as, if somebody told me tomorrow, you're going to live in Osaka or Tokyo, I'm not worried. You know what I'm saying? I'm still happy. But what I really like about where I live is we don't have all these tourists all over the place. Yeah, we get tourists. I mean, doing all this park behind me, we got 4,000 cherry blossom trees. Oh yeah, during the cherry blossom festival in April. Oh yeah, we get people, but it's nowhere near as crowded as a Kyoto or Tokyo, right? And out here, you need a car. So we don't have the subways and the trains and everything that you can just jump on and go here to there. You need a car out here. So that's why I love it. I don't have to walk. Everywhere I go in the city is only taking 20 minutes. No matter where I go, it only takes me 20 minutes. If it's farther away, if less, 10 minutes. So that's what I like about it. But like I said, everybody's gonna have to find their own place that they like, whatever they feel comfortable with in Japan.
Awesome. Awesome. Brothers, can we get the likes up? Please get the likes up. Please, if you're watching live on YouTube, please like the video. I got a super chat here, Tony. Hold on. Shout out to Mr. Akeem for the support. Good to see Mr. Tony back on the channel. If he doesn't mind asking, where in Japan is he calling in from?
Yes, I'm calling it from Joetsu City here in Niigata Prefecture. We're on the seaside of Japan. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Tony. Thank you. So next question for you, Tony, right, is now in terms of cost of living. Um, but I'm sure you're very well aware of America's cost of living is becoming outrageous nowadays, the West in general. When you compare the cost of living of America to Japan, brother, is Japan cheaper? And can a brother live comfortably with the current cost of living in Japan, bro?
You remember when I said that if brothers are like retired or if they got some sort of permanent income coming in, that they should just trash all their stuff and move to Japan? They can do that. In most places in Japan, brother, you can live on $1,000 a month. Nice. And I pulled up an article about 6 months ago that basically was saying what you need to retire in Japan. In Tokyo, which is one of the most expensive metropolises in Japan to live in, you can get by on $1,400 a month. Okinawa is the highest at $1,800 a month, 1,800 US. Okay, and I'll give you an example. And people say, "Well, that's not." You they say, "Oh, you're not. That's not right." Yeah, it is. I'll tell you right now, my own self. Where we live here in Joetsu City, I'm renting until I get my house built because my house is going to be finished in December. But right now, we're renting our house. It's a 1,300 square foot house with three parking spaces in the garage, so including the garage, right? Which I use as storage now. And it's in a good area, so I can walk to the store if I want. I can walk around the corner of the restaurants and whatnot. I'm only paying $380 a month for rent. 380 a month. So just imagine if you didn't need that much space, you could get by with paying $200 a month for your place in Japan. Another thing I like about Japan is everywhere you go to these events, like we went to this beautiful national park the other day, up to about an hour and a half from us, and it only cost me $2 and like 80 cents to get into the national park. 280. It only cost me about $1.27 to park my car. Events you go to, and by the way, the children are free, so kids are free. All these museums you want to go to, all these sites you want to go to, they're so cheap, man, to get into. And I don't want to use the word cheap because I don't want to disrespect any of my Japanese people that might be watching this channel. But because of the exchange dollar rate, and even if the exchange dollar rate wasn't what it is today, things are still reasonably priced in Japan. The quality of life here, brothers, is so good. The quality of life in Japan is so good, man. The food is good. The food is healthy. Another thing that I wanted to point out, I had my first physical checkup because in Japan, when you get on the healthcare system, you're required, to get your health checked every year. When you're over 40, you're required to get pre-cancer screening, which they never do in the States. I got a full body check, man, pre-cancer screening, everything, and I did the blood work, all the lab work and whatnot. It only cost me $20. $20. I walked out of there and I was scratching my head. $20. I go to the clinic. My leg was hurting me for a minute. I go to the gym. So I got hurt. I went to the clinic 3 weeks ago. It only cost me 20 something dollars with prescription. So you can't beat the quality of life here. You go everywhere, the restaurants, you ain't a tip nobody, the prices are good, people treat you good, the food is good and healthy. It's You can't beat it, brothers. You can't beat it, man. I don't even know how to explain it. You can't beat it.
Damn. So amazing, brother. That point there in regards to the healthcare system, right? Um, so, brother, would you say that, Japan is actually a society that cares about its people that live in Japan, as opposed to America, where America is a corporation, Tony. We know that for a fact. It's just to, make money 24/7. Health comes second. But in Japan, it's a society where we care about its people, brother. Would you agree with that, bro?
Yes, yes, they do. They do care about their people. And some people would put, you got a lot of YouTubers up here, man. Not your channel. Remember, I told you we talked about this the other night about how there's so many YouTubers over here. Mainly, it's just clickbait. You'll get people up there talking about, oh, look at how cold the Japanese are. They just let that guy fall in the street. They don't touch him. No, they don't touch that person for a reason because they don't want to get involved with people they don't know because they don't know what's going to happen off of that. But they will call the authorities, say, hey, somebody just fell in the street, come get him, right? Now, yes, Japan is a site that cares about people because, brother, they're always checking you out. They're always saying, hey, don't forget. I get all kind of notices. Hey, your physical is going to come up in September. Don't forget your physical. Don't forget this. Oh, Mr. Barry, don't forget about that. Oh, Mr. Barry, don't forget about that. And you know what else they do, brothers, which I just forgot to mention, man? They tell you how much they care about their people. The city that I live in, and most Japanese cities do this, they are paying me money for my children. Yes. Every month they give me, well, they pay us every 4 months, but but they pay you each month, but then you get it like every 4 months you'll get a check. Yes, for my kids. Every 4 months, the city is putting money in my bank account for my children. Or yes, they pay us pretty good too for that. Because my wife and I were thinking, oh, they probably won't give us nothing for our kids, even though my kids are Japanese because, you know, they weren't born in Japan. No. We got here, we registered at the city office. The shock on my wife's and I's face when they said, oh, yeah, we also going to give you this amount for your daughter and this amount for your son, and you'll get that check every 4 months. So yes, they do care about people here in Japan. They do.
Amazing, brother. Flipping amazing, bro. So, brother, now on the kids part, brother. So, it's a plan to raise your children in the Japanese school system, brother. Being taught by Japanese teachers, being around Japanese kids, Japanese high school kids, Japanese college people. Is that the plan, bro?
Yes. So right now, my son, and I'm glad you asked about the school, man, because my son, he got here. He last June of 23. He had finished fourth grade. He was scheduled to go to fifth grade in the U.S. We were thinking that when he comes to Japan, because their school system starts in April, runs from April to March. And so we were like, okay, he's going to get in Japan school in the middle of June or July, where he'll probably be fourth grade and he'll go to fifth grade in April. No, they got him here because my wife had him taking classes in the States online with Japanese, and she speaks Japanese with them all as well. And he was learning how to read and write as well. They got him here. They tested him out. They did an oral interview with him, and they said, "Hey, your son's ready for fifth grade." So they just put him in fifth grade. He got in there. He had a lot to learn, a lot of learning curves. But you know what? He finished fifth grade in March, and now he's a sixth grader in Japan. He's doing well. We got him playing soccer away from school. So because we wanted to put him in that soccer environment, he chose soccer because we wanted him to be able to, interact with kids his age. One thing I can say is my son has never been bullied in his school. He gets treated really well. The teachers are so appreciative of my son being in the school. They've made things as smooth as possible for my son. The coaching staff on the soccer club has made things as smooth as possible. So yes, our plan is to keep them in the Japanese education system, but then when they graduate from college, if they can go to college anywhere else too, not just Japan. But if they decide they want to do Japan, my thing I want to teach my children are you. I don't want you to get too bogged down in the Japanese work system, and I'll explain that later on when I get a question on that because they work like dogs, and they don't get paid as much in Japan until they get like in their 50s. And I don't want my kids to wait 30 years just to get some good money. So I got them on a different. I'm going to educate them on finances and whatnot. I'm making investments for my children anyway. So by the time they graduate from college, they can choose whatever they want to do. That's how I'm setting it up for them.
Tony, I like the part where you mentioned you're making investments for your children, for you, and I think the world we live in right now, if we want our children to have a great quality of life or a head start, when we have our kids, we need to be opening funds for them. And I'll tell you why I say this, Phil, right? Sorry, Tony, right? So, um, I was reading a stat the other day, right? In regards to the wealth transfer that will take place very soon from boomers or Gen X to millennials, right? And it said that that will cause a huge racial wealth disparity because a lot of white people, Tony, right, are going to inherit millions, if not billions, right, from their parents and their grandparents. Whereas black people, from what I saw, will inherit little to nothing from their parents or grandparents. So essentially, right, they're going to have a head start in life, brother. Not just white people, brother. Indians, Chinese too. It's black people that don't have that generational wealth. And I'll tell you why, Tony. Right? Obviously, it goes back to slavery. So as we know, Black Americans were enslaved for 500 years. Right? They were forced to work for free without earning any money. Where during that time, white people, Chinese people, Indian people were working for money. So obviously, wealth is passed down throughout the years for those 5 centuries, whereas black people get nothing. So it was only until obviously after Jim Crow that things started getting better for black people. But that doesn't actually close the wealth gap, Tony. So for us to allow our children to have a head start, right? We as black men right now, when we have kids, have to start investing in funds when they're very little, brother. What's your thoughts about that, Tony?
Yeah, yeah, it is, and that's what I'm doing. And the thing is too is I also like my son. He hasn't watched it since he's been in Japan, but I'm gonna get him back into it once the schedule lightens up a little bit to watching Bloomberg News. I get my son to watch finances all the time. My daughter, she's 2.5. She's gonna start watching finances next year. I'm just gonna start putting that bug in the ear about, hey, look, this is what you got to do. This is how this works. Because what I need them to know is this: I need them to know that they are behind. They are like in last place right now. Well, they are, but as a collective, we are in last place. And I like what you said about the fact that yeah, Chinese, Indians, they were getting paid something, and you can see the remnants of all of that today in society. When you go into the average city, who do you see mostly on the street? Blacks walking around aimlessly looking for life. They're not just looking for, yeah, people say, oh, we're looking for drugs. No, they're looking for life because they've been beat up so much. We are experiencing what we call post traumatic slave disorder in America because, okay, you said something about the Jim Crow law. Did you know, too, that when we freed ourselves, because we freed ourselves, we had to win that Civil War to free ourselves, that things got worse after our freedom than they were even when we were enslaved because a lot of blacks were trapped in the South working these farms that they supposedly owned the plot of land, but they would just, every time that their crop would be due when they go to pay their crop, the man that was all ahead of them would say, oh, no, this crop is not enough. You owe us more, or you just made it. They never would get anything. So they literally had to sneak out of the South to go up to the Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, where my folks are from, different New York, all these places just to get away from that. They were getting treated worse than they were when they were free. And that still is in essence today. People don't realize that we're getting treated worse than we are when we were enslaved. They don't look at it, oh, but I'm driving a nice car, but I got a nice house and I'm this. Yes, because you are doing somebody a service that they can turn off next week, and you have nothing. And I always used to tell brothers going into the military, when you go in the military, like myself, I was poor and black when I went in, and I was poor and black when I got out. No matter how many years you stay in, you're going to be exact same thing you were before you went in. That's how it works. So yes, you're right about that, brother. when you read about the disparity, about how whites are going to be getting this big inheritance, these baby boomers are going to be passing this money down, and you're going to see it. You're going to see the gap widen. And here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with that, brother. To touch base on that, with these people out here supporting the Donald Trumps and whatnot, I don't care what people vote for. But what I don't like is the attitude that they have. Like that June 6th, that January 6th thing is still a slap in the face to me when I see that Confederate flag flying in the Capitol. That doesn't resonate well with me. So these people now, what they do is they're getting this money and they're going to get even bolder in their tactics because they don't need to behave to get money. If that makes
Mm,
sense, you see what I'm saying?
yeah.
When they
Mm,
have wealth, people will behave. Their true selves will come out when they get that wealth. And unfortunately, a lot of white males are getting that wealth. A lot of white males own 95% of the guns in the United States. They're going to create laws to the point to where now they're talking about we want conscription. We want people to be able to have to join the military, no matter what, war or not. We want you to have to do some time in the military. Well, guess who's going to do all that time? Blacks, mostly blacks, because we can't afford to do anything else. See, so that's what's going to come to, brother. That's what it's coming to. So that's why brothers got to get out of the West. They got to get out of the matrix.
facts. Absolute facts, bro. Absolute facts there, Tony. Great stream so far. So, okay. Um, wow. This has been an amazing stream so far, Tony. So, Tony, so I want you to, I want to get your advice here, right? So on this channel, we have a lot of young black men, I'd say between 21 to 38, right? Who are thinking about Japan, brother. So, brother, where would you say is are the best cities for them to move to and start a new life in Japan as Western black men, Tony, from what you see right now over there?
Okay, it depends on the level of your knowledge of Japan. So, if you are new to Japanese culture and you're new to the Japanese experience, I would recommend you go to places like Yokohama, Tokyo areas is a good starter. Um, Saitama is also another place, but I prefer Yokohama over Saitama. Um, if you like I said, it depends on your level of knowledge. So if you know more about Japan, then hit up the Osaka Kansai area, and if you know even more, Fukuoka is a really good spot, and Sapporo, of course, another good spot. And then if you can speak Japanese and you've developed a sense of culture, then yeah, you can start to go anywhere in Japan. But I would say a young man, the first thing they would need to do is go to say a Yokohama Togo because if they have to work, they're gonna have more access to jobs and amenities, if you will. Because a lot of brothers getting started, you just can't go from the U.S. to where you're used to having your amenities, used to eating your steak and your fried chicken and whatnot. In Japan, you can get your steak and fried chicken in just about anywhere. Trust me, they got it over here too. But in order for you to get easy access to those types of things, I would recommend Yokohama Tokyo area first.
Awesome, bro. Awesome, awesome. So, Tony, I know, we're gonna be we're gonna be bouncing back and forth here in this stream. We have
No
a long
problem.
stream
No
ahead,
problem.
right? Um, but I do want to speak about women, Tony. I think
Yes.
obviously, brother, we're men, and I always tell my friends this, right? When we take away the entertainment, take away the BS, right? Our innate nature is men is to have a woman next to us, and vice versa. You know, it's just who we are as human beings feel. Tony.
Mhm.
So Tony, right? A lot of brothers are looking for a long-term girlfriend or a wife, brother. Okay, and we're seeing a lot of black men become interested in Japanese women, brother. So Tony, from what you
Mhm.
see right there, you're currently living in Japan. Are there an abundance of wifey material Japanese women, but that we can wife up as black men, in your opinion?
Yes, in my opinion, yes. And I'm gonna use this because this is one of my favorite cities in Japan. It's a place here called Toyama, and Toyama is only a 40-minute Shinkansen ride from me. I've stayed there twice by myself overnight because I did some videos there in Toyama because I was trying to sell the brothers on an old channel I used to have called Your Brother in Japan, but I canceled it. I stopped it because I wasn't getting the love on it. So, I may spin it back up later. I don't know. But my main point is this, brothers. When I was in Toyama walking around, man, And I had my video with me. I was dressed up nice. I mean, like just looking nice. And those Toyama girls were so friendly to her brother. Guess who hated to see brother in Toyama? Because I didn't see any other brothers in Toyama. I seen a few white boys walking around with their cell phones, teaching English, whatever they was doing. Whenever they see my brother creep up, man, they didn't say nothing to me. They did not want to see me there. So when I go somewhere in Japan, I know that they don't want to see me there, and the girls are treating me nice. That's the spot for the brothers. I give you an example. So I was my first experience with a woman in Toyama was I was like I had just hung out with my friends that I've known for years. They came up from Osaka. We went to dinner, and I got a little toasted. Man, I had some wine at the Spanish restaurant they got over there. So I was out videotaping. This was the night I was walking literally at midnight by myself in the pitch black in the park videotaping. But before I did that, I was at the station, and this beautiful girl was with her boyfriend. I don't know if that was a boyfriend, but she was a young. You could tell she's about 21, something around there. She had a mini skirt, and I was filming, and they were standing next to me, and they asked me some questions in Japanese. Said, "Are you are you just making a film?" I said, "Oh no, I'm doing this for YouTube." And then we talked. Across the street, and she told me eventually that she lived in Hawaii or she visited Hawaii, and she spoke a little bit of English, but not much, which was good enough to me because I didn't want her to speak English anyway. But she was so beautiful, and her voice was so nice. She was so friendly to me, and she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I gotta go now," and she left. And then the next day, I'm on the tram, and this will freak the brothers out. I'm on the tram, and another girl gets on there, another young girl. And this girl, like she's about 20, 21 too. She's trying to put money in the machine. 'Cause you know how the tram's got like the driver switches sides depending on which way the tram's going to go. So in Toyama, they have a lot of trams. They're one of the best tram systems in the world. And this girl's like on this one end trying to put money in. The driver's on the other end, get ready to take off. I just kind of tapped on the shoulder. I said, "Oh," in Japanese to her. I said, "You can't. You got to wait till you get off." She thanked me, man. She was such a sweetheart. She thanked me. She sat down across from me on the other side of the bench seats. This girl did not get on her cell phone 1 minute. She didn't pull her cell phone out. We go out to pay to get off. As we're getting off, we step off the tram. I asked her some questions. Is she from Toyama? She said, "Yes, I'm from Toyama," but she don't take the tram much. And I guess she was going to work and whatnot. And she was waiting for me to ask her out. And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, hey, thank you. You have a good time. I gotta go." But you see my point here, brothers, is this woman was like, "Wait a minute. I got a chance to talk to a man. I'm not gonna put my face in a cell phone and ignore this man. I'm not gonna put earbuds in, ignore this man. I'm gonna leave myself open just in case this man wants to talk to me." So Toyama is one of my favorite spots, brothers. It's a city of about 300 and something thousand people. It's a beautiful city. If you pull it up on Google, you'll see this city view with the big white mountains in the background. It's a beautiful city. It's a nice small city. It has everything. I really recommend Toyama Brothers.
Wow. Incredible, bro. Incredible. Um, okay, brother. So so Tony, right? So I was speaking to a few brothers in the back end, right, in the background, right, and some of them are dark skinned brothers, right? Tony, can you ease the concerns that because some brothers believe that the black men who do well in Japan are light skinned black men because I think we know that there is a colorism white worshipping culture issue in China, South Korea, Japan, right? And they're thinking if I'm not a light skinned black man, it would be maybe hard, right? But do dark skinned black men also get love as well in Japan from what you see, brother? Can you ease that concern?
Yes, yes, they do, brother. I'm actually darker than this in the middle of the summer. Right now, we're in rainy season, and the humidity starting to come in. But I'm shoot probably twice as dark as I am now in the summer, brother. They don't give a damn what shade you are, man. You gotta have game. You gotta have game. That's what you gotta have. In Japan, you just gotta have game, brother. See what I want to tell brothers when you come over here and talk to a Japanese woman, don't try to put the blackness on them or whatever. Just treat the women as a woman and let them flow into the relationship with you. In other words, you pull them in, but still treat them like a normal one. They just want to be treated like a normal human being. That's the major thing in Japan. Just treat them like a normal human being. You ain't gonna have No problems at all. If I walk down the street today and I ask 10 Japanese girls would they date me, they would all say yes. So I wouldn't worry about it, brothers. There's no worry there.
Awesome, awesome, bro. So, brother, okay. So now, Tony, right? I think over the last 7 months on social media, Japan blew up, right? In particular, uh, the apparent cheating culture in Japan, which took over the internet over the past 6 7 months, right? Where a lot of people are saying that Japanese women are serial cheaters, and they hide it very, very well, bro. Brother, from what you see out there in Japan, is that true? Is this, and yeah, what's your thoughts there?
Well, I know where I live. I don't see that. And here's what I'm trying to say is out here and you got the you need to cross. So the average man goes to work in the morning. He takes a 20-minute drive to his job or 10 minutes, wherever the case may be. He finishes work, he comes home within 10, 15 minutes. He may drop off somewhere. But the men here are always home on time. Now, if there's any sort of cheating culture, and what comes from cheating is the fact that the women don't see their men as often. And in Japan, a lot of women don't cheat, by the way, because here's another reason why I want to say that too because Japanese man, they know about each other so much. Like we live in a neighborhood, and we had to meet 25 neighbors. We belong to a neighborhood association. Everybody does. When you live in a neighborhood, you have to belong to an association. Everybody's watching you. Everybody sees what you're doing. I mean, you have freedom and everything like that. They don't. They're not in your bedroom. But what I'm saying is, this is such a small town we live. So if I'm here at Starbucks and if I'm talking to a girl, there's cars riding by the street, people see me. Then next you know, my wife will hear, hey, your husband was at the Starbucks with some girl, or vice versa. Somebody might say, hey, your wife was at this way with some guy. People talk in Japan. Now in the bigger cities like Tokyo, where people don't see that they don't have that much exposure to their community because nobody really cares if you live in an apartment in Tokyo, you don't even know who your neighbor is next door to you. That's how it works in the bigger cities. If those women want to go out there and cheat on their husbands, then they seem like they have a lot more freedom because they don't have people look at them too much. They can always go to a love motel. Nobody knows when you go to a love motel. But what I'm trying to say is the reason why they would cheat is if they're just being totally ignored by their husbands who are getting home at midnight and all he wants is a hot bath and a dinner, and he got to turn around and go to sleep at 1 o'clock and wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Those are the cases where if they did, that's what they would be doing. But I know that depends on the who and the where, if that makes sense.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks for easing that concern, there, Tony. Okay, so now, bro, still on the part on Japanese women, Tony. So you mentioned Toyama. Are there any other spots where you believe there's an abundance of wifey women across Japan, and cities and spots that black men should be going to search for wives?
Yes, there's a lot of spots. So there's a lot of spots. Like I said, Fukuoka's a big one. Nagano City, which is only an 18-minute train ride from where we live. Even when I was in Nagano, man, those girls over there. I went to Nagano and Matsumoto, which is another bigger city in Nagano Prefecture. Those women over there, brother, they were friendly, man. They were friendly. I did a video, man. I was walking down the street and they were waving in the video, and then I looked and I mentioned something like, "Yeah, these they got pretty girls all over the place," and they were laughing and smiling at me, man, and they were looking like they wanted me to talk to them. I mean, they got them everywhere. I would say, yeah, Toyama, Nagano, Fukuoka is a big one. Sapporo up in Hokkaido, which a lot of people don't talk about, is a big one. Niigata City is a nice one, of course. That's my wife's from Niigata City. Osaka, brothers. Osaka. If I was to compare between Osaka and Tokyo, I would look for more in the Osaka area because, not to take anything from Tokyo, because you can find a lot there too, but it's just that the women in Osaka, most of them are from Osaka. A lot of women in Tokyo are from other prefectures just coming into Tokyo, but the women in Osaka are local. Local women tend to care less. They're gonna go out with whoever they choose to go out with, or whoever chooses them because they're local. They know the setup. They know the layout. Like in Kyushu, all over Kyushu, the women there are so aggressive. Like me and Derek DT gonna be going out to Fukuoka in November of this year, or Derek's gonna be out in October. And trust me, it's gonna be a crazy house down there.
Wow, incredible, incredible, bro, incredible. So, now, brother, right? When it comes to avoiding women when looking for a wife, right? Obviously, but I'm sure Japanese women are not perfect. No woman on
Yeah.
earth is perfect, right? So,
No,
so, brother, what kind of traits do you have to look out for? When looking for when decide not to marry a woman? Is it obviously with a high body count? But are there any other traits that you want to, any red flags, but you should be aware of Japanese women?
yeah. The one thing that for me, I'm just gonna speak for myself because I know most brothers probably understand where I'm coming from. Is the biggest turnoff for me is a Japanese girl that speaks perfect English. That's already a red flag for me. No, she's out of the picture because I don't know where she's been. I don't know what she's up to. I don't know what her ulterior motives are. She may have been married before. I don't. That's to me. That's just a no no. That's a no no for me. Also, where I tend to stay away from, even though I mean I have a pet allergy to cats and dogs, and I love cats and dogs. I had a cat for 10 years. And before that, I had more cats, but now I can't have any. But I would stay away from the women with pets, especially the ones with dogs walking all over the place, because they will tend to care more about their dogs than you, and even though they're not trying to. So I wouldn't go out with I always say don't date a bitch with a dog. So I wouldn't do that. Another red flag for me is just somebody that's going to start trying to talk like me, even though they don't speak that much Japanese. I mean, speak that much English, but they're trying to. I'm in the day with them, and they're trying to talk black. They're trying to say, or they're saying some things that brothers usually say. That means that they got a high body count because they've been around a lot of brothers, which is what you don't want. Also, another red flag for me is a Japanese girl that's trying to move things along quick. Um, so in other words, I don't like a woman that says on the date, "Hey, you don't have to use a condom. Don't worry about it. Everything's good." No. In Japan, everybody uses a condom when they're dating. Everybody uses a condom. If you don't use a condom in Japan, something is wrong. So that woman is trying to trap you. She knows that you're the last resort for her. Um, so she may not act like it, but yes, she is because she knows how the marketplace works in Japan when it comes to using condoms. She already knows, even if she's a virgin, she knows how condoms about condom usage because they're taught that in school in Japan. My son is learning about that as we speak in elementary school. So in middle school, they really hone in on that. Everybody in Japan knows that if you don't use a condom, you will get pregnant. You know, everybody knows there ain't no ifs, ands, and buts. You will. So that's why they take precautions to protect themselves. So yeah, that's a red flag for me. Um, Another red flag is if she's the kind of woman that wants you to buy her stuff, and she's materialistic. You want to stay away from these Louis Vuitton materialistic women because they could be fronting you and about 4 or 5 other men too buying them stuff. Especially you get around them, pay attention to their lifestyle. If they're an office lady, but they're walking around with all this fashionable stuff, they can't afford all that stuff. That means that somebody else is getting it for them, and they're giving up something to get that. So that's another red flag for me. I would stay away from this couple.
Mm. What about listening to rap music, R&B? Would that be a red flag for you? American rap music and American R&B?
Um, it depends. I know when I met my wife, she didn't speak that much English, but she liked different musicians in the states. She liked Will Smith. She had a crush on Will Smith when she was in elementary school. She listened to all kind of music, a lot of black music. A lot of Japanese listen to get exposed to black music. So I don't think that would be a red flag for me. It would be a red flag if that's all they mimic. That's a red flag. So, like, even though my wife likes hip hop and everything when I was dating her, and she heard me listen to Tupac and everything, Biggie and everything like that, they throwing expletives out there left and right. But I never heard my wife sing like that. My wife would never. She would listen to it, and she would mainly just listen to the beat because she didn't understand what they're saying anyway. But you would never hear her come out and say, "Oh yeah, excuse me." You know, that's not what she does. So if I see a woman doing like that, that might give me a little bit of a pause. But then that would just cause me to dig further into what type of what else I might not like about them, if you know what I'm saying. So you know how you find something about somebody that you don't like, then you start to dig more to see if you've got some other things you don't like. Oftentimes you may not come up with those things. You might be, oh yeah, she was just trying to mimic. But sometimes you come up with those. You're like, oh, wait a minute, who's this dude that you who's this guy? I see somebody's trying to call you. Who's that? Because your phone's blowing up for the last 20 minutes. Oh, that's J Ro. He's from the Navy. He's okay. His name is J Ro. He's just a friend. That's a red flag for me.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. So, brother, now, brother, so what about Japanese women, right? Having um guy friends, brother. Is that common? So let's say you're dating a Japanese woman, right? She has guy friends. Is that common? And can you cut that down? Listen, if you want to be with me, you gotta distance yourself from guy friends, brother. But when I was in Japan last year, if you're right, sorry, Tony, right? And I was speaking with Japanese women, right? It kind of appeared common for them to have guy friends, even though they're in a relationship. So brother, how do you deal with that? Is that a cultural thing, or is that not normal at all?
No, it's not normal for them to have a guy friend. And here's what I mean by that. Okay, first of all, it's very hard to meet friends in Japan. So what I want to say on that is that those supposedly guy friends, those are basically just coworkers or former classmates that they've kept in touch with. And those are harmless relationships because those former classmates are, already involved in other relationships, or they never had any interest in each other anyway, because if they did, they would have been going out already. So, because I'll give you an example. So, like, if for any of us, and I want to tell the brothers this too, myself included, I will never meet a friend in Japan. I have friends in Japan, but those friends are through my wife's friends' husbands. I know them, and through affiliates of the family. But me personally going out and hooking up with a Japanese person, like I go to a sports club, I know Japanese guys there. They all say hi to me. They're all associates, but they're not friends. Westerners get it confused when we think we're a friend with somebody. We're not friends because in order for you to meet a friend in Japan, you have to have gone through like school with them, or like I could if I go to like say if I wanted to go to start a school, go to college tomorrow, and I go to college for 3 years, and I meet Japanese, yeah, those people will become my friends because we've been to school together, we studied together, we drank together. Those would become my friends. But me going to Tokyo or hanging out here and just happen to say hi to a guy at Starbucks every few weeks or whatever, that's not my friend. He's just an associate that I just happen to run into. So I think that's the difference there. Because my wife, she doesn't have any male friends. All her friends that she knows that are men are her wives' husbands, and she may walk by and or may hit you got the city up and say, "Oh yeah, I remember you. You were from my school back in the day." That's about the extent of it. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, bro, awesome. So, Tony, right? So, and I think as men, right? If we want to marry a woman, we prefer she was a virgin. If that's not possible, as low body count as possible, one or two max, brother. So, brother, I know that life in Japan is different from where it was in the 80s or 90s, right? I know that social media is big everywhere, brother. They see American culture, they see English culture. We know Western culture promotes promiscuous values seeping around, brother. So, brother, in 2024, brother, right? You know, is it possible to find a virgin Japanese woman? Okay. And how common is that, brother? Low body count virgin, brother, or is it lower than it was back in your time?
No, it's the same, brother. It's the same. And one thing people got to understand about the way Japanese approach their sex lives is they don't look at the body the way we look at the body in the West. I'm not saying that they approve of high body count because they don't, but they just don't look at the human anatomy like we do. So they've always had this vision about sex ever since they were formed the culture 10,000 whatever years ago. So they're not going to change up anything whether I'm here in the 80s or you're here in the 80s or whatever. They got in social media, nothing really changes them. What I would say too is that there are still a lot of virgins in Japan. You got women in their 40s that are virgins. And here's why. Because the young Japanese man And I figured this out. I finally figured it out, man. That's why living here is really giving me some good intel. So remember I told you before a few minutes ago that the young Japanese man does not make as much money on the job. Usually what happens is Japanese will get a good job for the rest of their life, even still today. So when you come out of college, my wife's the same thing. When she was in college, her third year, almost finishing college, she got hired on. She got a full-time job, and the pay was going to be good. But she turned it down because she was going to marry me. She told me, I'm sorry, but I'm going to get married. So she moved to the States. But the other college graduates who took those jobs, they'll start you off with a good pay, and then your pay will stay pretty much the same for years. But you will get bonuses. You get bonuses twice a year, which is usually about 2 or 3 times your monthly pay, right? Then when you get to say like your late 40s, depending on where you're at, the company or government or whatever, then you start to make some serious money. Well, not that much, but like you might go from say making 25, 21, $22,000 a year to say like 38 or $40,000 a year. What that does, that puts you in a certain bracket to where now you can buy a house. Now you can purchase a home. So a lot of the older guys that get in the 50s, they will end up marrying a young Japanese woman. And a lot of those women are still virgins because they didn't want to give up their virginity because they were like, wait, I want to hold out for a guy that's going to be able to get me a house or whatever. They're not. I'm not saying they're materialistic, but all I'm saying is that the younger man nowadays doesn't have the funds to support a family and give the wife what they really want. Yeah, you still got a lot of young couples getting married. I was just recently in marriage last September with my cousin. He just got married. He's in the Coast Guard. But the younger ones that do get married, they're either working for the government, where they get a little bit more money and they got stable income every year. The young ones that work for a regular company, they don't tend to have those kind of funds available. So yeah, they themselves will stay virgins, and the ladies themselves will stay virgins too. So there's still quite a bit of virgins in Japan. You got women who slept around, but you can pretty much tell who they are already because they're in industries that allow them to do that, or where people don't mind what they do, if you will.
Awesome, awesome, great breakdown here so far, Tony. So, pivoting away from woman, Tony. Uh, but I want to speak about white worship, because I think that that's something that, uh, again, based on my research on East Asia, seems to be a thing. So I was in Korea last year. Okay, I saw white worship everywhere in Korea, brother. I heard it's also the same in China as well, Tony. Right now, I've been Japan before, but I wasn't there long enough to assess the situation there. So, brother, you're currently living there for the past year or so, Tony. Is that an issue? The white worship culture? Do Japanese people worship white people?
No, that's not an issue here at all. I know it is an issue in Korea. I lived in Korea for a year, and it's bad there in Korea because I remember living in Korea. The white GIs would come over and tell the Korean girls things about black people, and they would just believe them. And then a lot of times we wouldn't get to date the good Korean girls because they only want to go out with the white boys. The ones that we would get would be the ones that have been passed over by brothers all the time, right? Passed through one brother to the next. So we never would get those kind of women. In Japan, they don't care. They really don't care about your color in Japan. Yeah, they love the brothers, but they don't really care about color per se. Like, and the white worship thing doesn't work in Japan because keep in mind, Japanese, like I told you before the other night, they've been exposed to the West a lot longer than they've been exposed to the West in Korea and China. So even though they were closed down for 250 years, they were letting in Dutch settlers back in Portuguese back in Nagasaki area back in the 1600s. But here's the thing: when Japan finally opened up during the Meiji Restoration in the late 1800s, they were on a path to learn as much as they could from the West. So anything good, like at that time Bismarck was good in Germany, they start learning stuff about the German military, how that works. They learned things from America. They learned things from Britain about shipbuilding. They were just taking all the best in and learning. And then at that time, maybe it seemed like they were worshiping the white way because they were just trying to learn about what it is that they need to learn to make themselves better. But I don't see that in Japan at all today. No.
Awesome, amazing, bro. Amazing breakdown so far, Tony. All right, so now, Tony, you're currently having a great life, Tony, right? So, brother, can you give me 5 reasons why? So, brother, so actually, Tony, right? So, I don't know if you've watched my channel recently, Tony, but I've got there's an ongoing statement by me where I want to get 1 million black men over to Japan by the end of
Yes. Yep.
2025.
Yes. Yep.
1 million black men, brother. Okay, so brother, number one, should we be aiming for 1 million black men, or should we be aiming for 10 million black men over to Japan, brother? And number two, Tony, right? Give us 5 reasons why black men should absolutely move to Japan, brother, as soon as possible. 5 reasons.
Oh, brother, that's good, man. That's good. Okay, so first of all, yeah, we should be aiming for 1 million. Only reason why, because I don't even know if we have 10 million brothers even watching our channels right now. Um, but no, we should be doing 1 million because here's the thing, brothers. I want you guys to know, man. The white boys are over here and they are buying up. See, in Japan, they have 8 million homes that are empty. So what the white boys are doing, they're coming over here, they're buying up land and these empty homes. Now I got a story on those. I mean, I got reasons why you want to do and don't want to do, or how you want to do it. But they're doing that because you know why they're doing that, brother? Because they got that wealth, they got that inheritance that blacks never got. You see what I'm saying, brothers? So they're
Mm,
able to get over anywhere in the world and say, I want to buy this land in this country, in Portugal or Japan or Germany or this, that, the other, because they can, right? So brothers need to get over here. We need to try to get 1 million brothers everybody in next year. Yes, because the brothers need to not because brothers are going to be left out. Here's what I'm trying to say: every country will only be as open as it can for a certain period of time. Once that people come over, and this is historically has happened all over the world, whites have come in and grabbed what they wanted to grab anywhere, and then when we come in to try to get it, oh, now you got laws that are keeping us from doing it, or somebody complained about something, now we can't do it. Brothers, I'm here to tell you, you got to get over here. Now, here's the 5 reasons why you want to live in Japan. Number one, quality of life. I cannot stress that enough. The quality of life is outstanding. Number two, the low stress. I don't have any stress over here, brothers. I'm not stressed out here. I don't have any stress. The chip is off no longer on my shoulder. I'm from Philly, where we grew up with chips on our shoulders. I don't have a chip on my shoulder anymore. So no stress. Number three, beautiful women walking around everywhere, and you say something to them, and they're gonna say something back to you. They're gonna give them a compliment, and they're gonna give you a compliment without you even giving them a compliment. They're gonna say something to you. If they see you looking nice, they're gonna say you look nice. They see you smell nice, they're gonna say you smell good. Not like in the West, where a woman is afraid to give you a comment because she thinks she got lost because she told said something nice about you. So those are the three things right there. Number four, I mentioned quality of life, but this is a little bit different here. Health. Your health will be so much better. You will literally be adding 10 years onto whatever you're supposed to be scheduled to leave this planet. You're going to be adding 10 more years to your life over here just by keeping your health clean, getting your health checkups and everything like that. Japan, they use preventative health care. They don't wait for you to get sick and treat. They treat to prevent. That's what they do, right? And the fifth thing, the respect, brothers. The respect. It's just so much better living in a country where the white man is not in control. Where the white man is not in control, brothers. I don't have to, like I said, they can't hire you. They can't fire you. They can't take anything from you. They can't kill you. They can't shoot you. They can't handcuff you. They can't put your head on the hood. So I got a lot of reasons, but those are the top five that I know of so far.
wow, amazing, bro, amazing. So, what don't you like about Japan, bro? Since you've been back, any maybe 5 things you don't like about Japan, bro, if it's possible.
Yeah. There's always gonna be some things you don't like. Um, I would say the first thing I don't like is the social pressure that's put on Japanese, and I can see it through my wife where, and I got to remind her sometimes. I have to remind her, hey, don't worry about it, baby. You don't have to worry about it. And then she starts to, oh yeah, you're right. So like for example, they tend to overthink what other people are saying about them or how they perceive them, right? And so I'm always telling my wife, hey, don't worry about it. Like for example, the soccer club, you know, there may be a woman there who was, not treating my son good or whatever the case may be. And I always tell my wife, don't worry about it. She doesn't. She's never been anywhere. Those kind of simple things in the West that we can cheer people up at. They just need to be cheered up once in a while. To be reminded, hey, you lived in the United States for 16 years. You've been somewhere they've never been. So don't just remember that you are a Japanese that had lived overseas. I just have to constantly remind her that if she understands, oh yeah, you're right. I'm not. I will never fit. I mean, be like the Japanese woman again, so to speak. She's Japanese all through and through, but she would never lived like the Japanese wife because she lived in the United States before. So I didn't remind her of that. I said another thing I don't like is where I live now is so I'll give you a perfect example. And your brother's gonna experience this, but don't take it to heart. But and I always explain this to my wife too, because you go back and forth. Some things she may be going through that I have to help her out with. Some things I'll go through that she has to help me out with. So number two, I would say is sometimes when you get like a guy will come over to my house, like a repairman or something, and they'll talk to my wife. I'm standing there and I can speak to Japanese, but he's constantly talking to my wife. He's looking at my wife. He doesn't look at me at all. And I was having a problem with that, but my wife was saying that that's because in Joett's, the city where I live, a lot of people are hesitant because they don't know how to deal with foreigners because they really don't because we don't have a lot of foreigners out here. It's not a frustrating thing. It's just something that you have to be aware of and don't take it personal. So that's the second thing that I would say. Um, I think another thing is I don't like the fact that trying to think of something here too. That for oh, I like okay. This is having to do with Kyoto and how people are trying to treat the tourists. So there's a movement in Japan to ban tourists from going to certain places. There's a movement in Japan to also raise prices for tourists. And locals, we pay less, but the tourists pay more. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I don't like the way they're doing it in Kyoto. The big problem in Kyoto is it's not the tourists. Yeah, you're going to get an ignorant tourist once in a while, but you get that in Italy too. The problem is that Kyoto doesn't have the capacity to handle all the tourists, but they want to blame it on the tourists. When they're just a city, a location of about 2.3 million people in Kyoto Prefecture, but they're inundated with 23 million people a year. They just don't have the facilities for that. They never prepared for that. They never created that. But they know that they're a tourist destination. So that's my third problem is that they tend to blame things on outsiders instead of fixing the problem themselves in some locales. Some locales are different, and that's why I don't want to say it's a Japanese thing because other locales like Yokohama, they're right up on the game. They know what to do. They're very experienced at that, but for some reason Kyoto's not good at that. So I just want to bring that out. Um, Another thing I don't know if it's a bad thing. You have to carry a lot of cards in your wallet as a resident in Japan. So I gotta carry somebody's over the beat, a Zairyu card, which is a resident card for foreigners, a My Number card, which is like a Social Security card in the States, a healthcare card, and I have to carry, of course, my driver's license, and I have to carry one more thing. I forgot what it was, but off the top of my head, but I got to carry so many different forms of ID in Japan until I become a permanent resident. That thing I don't like. Um, the last thing I would say is things in some place you go, things take longer because they have a serious labor shortage in Japan. Serious labor shortage. So sometimes, like I just applied, renew my spousal visa, and it's been over a month already, and I haven't got my new spousal visa yet. I contacted them yesterday though, and they told me why. So that's good. But the bad part I would say is just waiting for stuff to get things done when it comes to immigration. That's about it. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, bro. So let's go on for another 10, 15 minutes. We'll put up the phone lines. And obviously, Tony, you let me know if you need to go, if you're busy. We're working on your time, Tony, okay?
Yeah, I'm good, brother. I'm still good. Thank you.
Okay, awesome, bro. So, Bobby, you mentioned about self-consciousness, and Baba, I do agree with what you've mentioned, bro, in terms of Japanese women thinking too much about what other people think, brother. And but to me, that's a problem because let's say she's with a black guy, she's got a black husband and a black boyfriend, right? You know, will she be thinking, oh, what do people think about me being with a black person, you know? Or am I thinking too deep into it, brother? But we can agree that Japanese women think have this perception that they think about what others think about them or how they do, isn't it? Break it down for me, bro.
Yeah. So the one thing I want to say is that they don't worry about who they're with. They really don't see. The funny thing about Japanese is that they worry about certain things, and then the other things which you would think would be bigger, they don't care nothing about. So for example, Japanese is they're very unique. So not every two Japanese are the same. Japanese are different. The next one sitting at the table is just as different from the one sitting at another table. So they have their pride. They're very proud of themselves. So like my wife would never be ashamed of being with a black man and having two black children. And my children's grandparents are not, and all the family that they have are not. They would just pick my kids up like they're their own kids, and they never be like, oh wait, should I pick them up? Because what so and so think? No, that is so not. That doesn't happen in Japan really. They are so happy to have. They just treat my kids like their family, was because they are. They don't worry about anybody. My kids can go with the grandparents by themselves, and the grandparents not gonna give a darn. The cousins, they don't care what people think. They're like, this is my family, and this is the way it works. It almost seems like they're kind of proud to have that status, if you will. But at the same time, something small will bother them. Like, hey, I didn't like the way she looked at me when she said this because of that. Little things that we in the West can't really pick up, but they can, because they're so worried about how that will spread around in Japan, around their neighborhood. And I think that comes from their schooling, because in Japanese school, in some parts of the country, and it could be anywhere, they have some bullying. They have a serious bullying problem. So Japanese do not like being the odd in out. So that's what concerns them, is being treated like an outsider. They don't care about, hey, that's my family. You got to just deal with it. That's my husband's black. You deal with that. They're more concerned about being treated as an outsider or treated badly to where it will spread around to society to where they can't walk out their house and feel comfortable. That's what they're more concerned about.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. Awesome. So another question for you, Tony, is about foreigners in Japan, white people, Latinos, Indians, Chinese. Now, I remember I was told this a couple of years ago that Japanese people, for the most part, right, won't mistreat you in Japan. If it is going to be a person, it'll be a foreigner. Because Tony, from what I'm seeing, right, a lot of white people see Japan as something they own, that their backyard, and they're very arrogant about it, brother. So, brother, have you experienced any sort of racism from foreigners, brother, in Japan in terms of looks, what they say to you, actions towards you, brother, at all?
I would say the only place I've experienced that is when I was in Toyama, and that's only because when a brother goes places to where where whites don't expect to see you, just like in the U.S. and the U.K. You know how they treat you when you show up at White Center, and they're like, "Hey, we didn't expect to see you here." I did get those kind of looks in Toyama. Of course, they can't do nothing, and that's what I love about it, brothers. They can look all they want, but they can't do nothing about it. They can't do nothing. They have no guns to shoot you with. They have no authority that's gonna back them up. They can't do nothing. That's what I'm saying. That's why it's so beautiful. They can look at what they want. See, look at here's a take example. They looked at me the way they looked at me, but they were looking at a wealthy black man, but then they had to go back to work. You see what I'm saying? I'm retired. You're looking at me, but they had to go back to work. I'm getting a house built, but they're renting an apartment that's smaller than my kitchen, and they got to go back to work. So that's the way. So what I'm trying to tell brothers is to not have to be concerned with that. You have to have your wealth. You're living over here as a wealthy black man, which I'm doing. You ain't got to worry about nothing. They can do whatever they want. They can say whatever they say. And it's funny that I just talked about that because there is a white Mercedes Benz AMG GT43 right there. I am going to get that same car here next year. See? So, yes. So, it's ironic how that showed up now. See? So you think they hate me now? When do they see me? When they see me pull out of my big house in my Mercedes as they walk out to see the ski resort, then they'll hate me. So yeah, So the way to handle that is to live better than them. And I'm living better than the whites in this country, brother. And I've never had that experience in my life, but I have it now. Yeah. So
Amazing.
no, they don't bother.
Fantastic, bro. Fantastic. So, Tony, for me personally, right, I'm a huge advocate of real estate. I think once you plant your seed somewhere, you gotta get a property. Property is a key factor in building wealth, Tony. So Japan has a lot of vacant homes. I heard millions, 9 million vacant homes. Tony, is this something that black men should be taking advantage of? And if you have any tips as to, the best ways to go about buying a property, in Japan, can we get on a mortgage, or would it have to be a or cash, brother? Break it down for us, the real estate market, brother, in Japan.
Okay, so first of all, thanks, brother, for asking the question, man. I just want to say that okay, the way I bought my land, I had to buy my land cash because in Japan, if you don't have a permanent resident card, you can't finance a hamburger, right? The only reason why I'm able to finance my house is because I'm living here on a spousal visa, and the bank that has found a niche market of foreigners like myself who don't have a permanent resident card, but we have a lot of wealth, so they discovered a way to make loans for us. Basically, all they did was they just raised the rate up a little bit, not too much, but just a little bit to where we can buy a home, finance a home. Now, I am once I get my permanent resident card, which I'm expecting to have it sometime early next year, depending on how my visa comes back. I'm going to go ahead and refinance my loan anyway with my house. So, I'll end up getting a lower rate. But yes, the way to buy property here is you can buy property on a tourist visa. With America's, and I don't know if it's the same thing. I think it is. You get land in the country, and then you get your passport stamp, and you're good for 90 days. Is that right? That happened to you too, IP?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so yeah, that's what I thought because U.S. and England we're usually pretty much the same. So you get here, and if you want to buy property, of course you would have done your research and due diligence before you got here. You need to go look at the property. The kind of properties that I don't recommend you purchase or get interested in are old condominiums. There's a lot of little areas in Japan where skiing was big in the 80s, but they've died down in those areas. But they want to revitalize them, so they will get you to come in and say, "Hey, you can buy this whole condominium for like 15, $20,000 US." But what they don't tell you is that all the costs incurred with that are going to be you're going to keep having to pay, and they won't be high, but you have to pay all these extra costs because if you buy into a building that's 100 units and it's only owned by 10 people, there's only 10% of the units that's owned, then the other 90% of the units somehow they're going to have to be maintained despite nobody living in them. So that means your association dues and whatnot, they're going to be costly. Your maintenance cost for the building is going to be costly because it's only being shared amongst 10 people instead of 100 people, if that makes sense, right?
Mm.
So I wouldn't purchase a condo. What I would do though is I would look for land in areas that I'm interested in. So like me, I just told you brothers about Toyama. I just told you brothers about Niigata where I live and other areas. I would go to these areas and I would say, hey, I want to check and see what houses are here, what land is available here. Now keep in mind, the good land that's in the conveniently located cities and whatnot, you won't have access to that as much as you think you will. You'll be able to get land outside the cities and maybe like an hour or so or 30 minutes or so even to where people are trying to sell, and they just want to get rid of it. Or you have cities in Japan. So and the only way you can do this is you were married to a Japanese that will say, hey, we'll give you this free house. You pay like $200 a year, and then after 10 years, the house is yours, and then we'll give you all the money that you paid into it back. They have those programs in Japan. Trust me, I'll hear that. So all over Japan. So yeah, you can still purchase land on a tourist visa, but you have to do it all cash. You can't finance
I see. Okay, bro. So now, brother, you mentioned, so if one buys a property in Japan, does that also
it.
mean they own the land, or are the land and property separate? So let's say, you want, let's say so it's probably, let's say you have a plane, yeah, it's probably, is land and property separate, or when you buy a property, does that come with the land, brother, as well?
No, it's all fee simple. It's all fee. It's not leasehold. It's fee simple. So you buy that land. That land is yours, and anything on it is yours. And the way what I like about being a landowner in Japan is that you have a lot of power. I give you an example. Where we're building our house, it's in the foothills, right? So we're surrounded by trees, and we just walk out the street into the ski area. And so those, I think about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, the Shinkansen wanted to build through that land, and they wanted to build a freeway through that land. Well, they needed to get all the owners in that area to sign off, and the owners consistently turned them down to the point to where they said, "Okay, we're done," and they ended up building the Shinkansen and the freeway further down, like quite a ways away, to with the point to where when the Shinkansen comes from George Miyoko Station and it runs behind that land, it goes far up. It has to go through a tunnel because the reason why they wanted that land because they didn't want to have to build a tunnel, but they lost, so they had to build a tunnel for the freeway and for the Shinkansen way up on the mountain to get it through. So as a landowner, you have a lot of power here in Japan, a lot of power. Give you another example. When when we were going to build, when we first started getting into building our house last year, right after I bought the land next to my land that we own, that my father owned, he had all the landowners show up, right? So these people are mostly like farmers that own pieces of land, lots around that land that we own. They had to sign off on the borders. It was called a border review meeting. Basically, you had to sign off on the fact that yep, this is where that land is. This is where that land is. Well, there was this one lady that didn't agree with where our land ended on one side, on the north side. She said that my grandfather-in-law told her that what his brick was, that's where the land ends. And we said no, based on the map, this is where it is. But we didn't get an argument nothing like that. She just mentioned that there because Japanese don't argue like that. What we did do though is we had a surveyor go back out and reassess the land again, the borders, and they found out that we were right. And you know what she did? She just signed off on it and said, okay, I agree. The thing I'm getting at is this. If she never agreed to the border, we would have never been able to get a house built until she agreed to that border. That's how powerful homeowners are, landowners are here in Japan.
So, brother, brother, when you buy a property like a house, right? Does that mean you own the land the property is on, or not? Because probably in the
Yes.
UK.
Hmm.
Interesting. Okay. Oh,
Yeah. I know in the UK and in Hawaii too. Mostly the mainland U.S. is all fee simple, which fee simple, but guys, for the way brothers means that you buy the land, you own everything on the land. So you buy the land, you got dog poo on the land, you own that dog poo. Okay,
brother, the
you got a
property.
crappy house on the land, you own that land too, the house too. But they also have what they call leasehold, where you buy the house, but you don't own the land. I get that, but no, this is all fee simple in Japan.
Awesome. Wow. Awesome, bro. So, brother, that is a very attractive proposition, right? But you see, same we got to buy flowing cash, right? So let's say if a property is 100K, we got to put down 100K for the property, right? So, but it seems like, right, if we're gonna take buying a property in Japan seriously, brother's got to come correct. Got to have the money, got to have wealth, brother, and that's why Tony, we're pushing IT, crypto stocks, and brother, it's crypto season. Tony, I'm not sure if you're a crypto brother, Tony,
Yeah, I'm a
but
crypto brother. Yes, I'm a crypto brother. I got some crypto. Yes. Yes, I got more crypto than I had since we first started talking. Yes, trust me.
awesome. But can I ask you what crypto you're in, brother? What you're interested in out of interest, bro? If you want to share it, brother.
Yeah. I got some Bitcoin, and I have ETH, and I have Solana, and I got some Shiba Inu, Cardano, and Crypto.com. But most of my assets are in ETH, Bitcoin, and Solana. Yeah.
Amazing, brother. So probably, do you know why black men need crypto more than ever? As you know, Tony, we've been screwed over by slavery, Jim Crow. Other races have a head start, feel Tony. And in my
Yep.
opinion, Tony, right, the racial wealth gap will never close unless we get reparations. But we know for a fact that we
Yes.
will never ever get reparations. So we got to look at other feasible means, and it's crypto that can elevate you to a new status in life, brother. So in the next year or so, I'm hoping crypto does well for black men, and when we get that cash, we can start, moving, moving like, like made men, you know, made men. That's the
Yes.
plan, bro. Go on, bro.
Yeah, because you know what it is with crypto is, and you know everybody knows me. I'm all about dividends on the investment side, on the stock, mutual fund, and index fund side. But the crypto side, I'm all about staking. So I stake the crypto that I buy. So I'm making money off my stakes. So of course my ETH is staked, my Solana stake, my Bitcoin. So on the Bitcoin's not, but ETH and Solana are staked. So because that's like people don't understand what staking, how staking works. Staking is like you getting interest, like a savings interest on your money that you have in the crypto. That's what staking is. So that's what I do. Well, crypto, as we know, is versatile. It goes up and down. Now, but see, there's one thing you said about the reparations. Here's where I actually, it's funny that I'm about ready to say this, but I actually do believe we're going to get reparations sooner than later, and here's why. And this is going to be a big test because either one or two things are going to happen. Either we're going to get our reparations, or we're going to create a revolution. And what I mean by this, we're going to see that all these whites are inheriting this money from the baby boomers. Because it's going to happen. Trust me, it's going to come. All of a sudden, that white guy going to be riding down the street in a brand new Ferrari, and he's going to be buying property big time. They're getting that money from there, going to get passed down. But what should be happening is as those whites are getting that money, instead of them trying to create this conservative atmosphere, they should be happy with what they're getting, and then they should start to realize that wait a minute, but blacks didn't get nothing. And then when people come to them and say, "Hey, it's time to pay the blacks reparations," they're gonna be like, "Well, hey, I got all this good life." Somebody's gonna put some sense in them and say, "Look, if you don't give black people their reparations, the stuff that you're able to buy and own, you will never be able to keep it in a good condition because the people that have nothing are going to come try to take something from the people that have." So that's my only take on that is there is a silver lining with this baby boomer inheritance to where they're going to be so rich that they're going to be like, you know what? It's not fair that we're this rich and that they're not rich. That's the good of human heart. Now, is that going to work or not? I don't know. Has it worked in the past? It's worked a little bit with the civil rights, but that's only because we weren't talking about money. When it comes to money, is that going to work? It's still up in question. Yeah.
Facts, absolute facts, man. So Tony, last question here before I open up the phone lines, brother. Food. How is food in Japan, Tony? Would you say if a brother isn't into seafood, he should avoid Japan? Or even though it is a seafood nation, there's options for you to eat food. So, brother Tony, a lot of brothers don't eat, pork or shrimp or raw food. Should they avoid Japan? Break it down for us, brother. How's the food like? And give us more context there.
No, no, no. Japan, they have all kinds of food over here in Japan. I mean, you can get any food here. You can get, if you like your fried chicken, get your fried chicken. You like your steak, get your steak. You like your seafood, seafood, veggies. Food is not an issue in Japan. In fact, it's so good that I don't. You seen this when you were here, IP. We have convenience stores all over the country, and these are 24-hour convenience stores. They're not like the crappy ass gas station convenience stores in the United States with the same name, 7-Eleven. We have 7-Elevens here. We have Family Mart. We have even local convenience stores, Daily Mart. We have a lot of different things. But basically, the convenience of it all is you can go to these convenience stores and get you an entire meal with a cheap price, less than $5. You literally go there, you'll see stuff in there like you'll see like boiled eggs inside of a bag, with sauce. You'll see like what they call a karaage, which is like these fried chicken pieces inside something. You'll look at the counter up front in the 7-Eleven. You'll see these buns with meat, these meat buns. You'll see salads. You'll see like little snacks everywhere. You don't have to worry about the food in Japan at all. I keep telling the brothers that, you know, food is not a problem here, no matter what your diet is. And it's
Amazing. Thank
safe
you,
and good.
Tony.
Yes.
No, no, you go. No, carry on.
No, I was just saying, and it's safe and it's good too. So I give you another example. My wife and I got here, man, last year. We were taking our family restaurants almost every day because we wasn't set up yet. Even after we got in our place for about a month after we moved in, we were still eating out, this, that, the other. We didn't care about what we were eating. We just eating and having a good time. When we got our physical in September, excuse me, my numbers came back better than they've ever been in the States. Blood pressure, A1C, PSAs, all my numbers flew off the charts, were just nice. much better. And that's because I live in Japan and I'm eating well. That's what that's about.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. Shout out to Mr. Tekinor for the support for the intel. Yo, thank you for the kind words, bro. Much appreciated for support. Can we get more support coming in, brothers? This has been a great live stream so far. So please, if you can support me any way you can, that'd be greatly appreciated. Shout out to Mr. Show Shader, aka Soul Octavius, for the support. I'm really sold on Japan now. The word power is my favorite. Brothers need power. Brothers need a lot of power, bro. Brothers need a lot of power. And that's a great super chat there, Soul Shader, because Tony, the other day, right, on a different stream, okay, I was talking to brothers on the live stream, right, and I made it very clear that we as black men are lagging behind, bro. And most of it isn't our fault. So, for example, right, the Japanese man, bro, he's got Sony, Nintendo, Sega, and all these products are exported all over the world, right? The Korean man has Samsung and Hyundai, okay. The white man's got Microsoft, and he's got Tesla. Okay, but with the Chinese man, right, he has TikTok. He has all these Chinese products, right? What do we as black men have exploited all around the world, bro? We lack power, Tony, bro. We need it, bro. We need a lot of power, Tony. A lot of power. Break it down for us, bro. What's your thoughts?
Yes, yes. And here's the reason why we need that power. Because you know what power does, brothers? Power influences foreign policy. I'll give you an example, man. This is clear. When the Haitians were trying to come from Mexico, through Mexico to the United States, they had been through a coup attempt, coup d'etat, whatever they want to call it over there. They've always had problems throughout the years. Do you know that the U.S. government told them to turn around and leave? And there was nothing they could do about it. You let that be a bunch of people coming from Israel or from Germany or Sweden, whatever. They're gonna let those people in because the whites control the foreign policy because they have the power. When you have the power and the wealth, you control the judges, you control the presidents, you control the foreign policy. Whites are sitting up there right now, right, in their homes, in their comfortable homes, on their beautiful properties in the United States and in areas where other people can't build around it because they set up that way. Their association says, "Oh, we don't want you building over there. We don't want you building over there. We want you building over there." So therefore, they never have to worry about an apartment building being built in their neighborhood. They're comfortable drinking their cup of coffee at home with their slippers on. They don't care who's going to be president. They don't care who wins because whoever wins, they're making money. It's not going to change their life. See, so they got the voting power. Blacks, we don't have the power to choose. We just vote to hope. We just vote to hope that we're going to get a rat's nostrils with a policy that's going to help us out of a candidate. Joe Biden, Donald Trump, they don't give a crap about brothers, no matter what. They don't give a crap about them. I know my boy Associated and I, we talk a lot. I know Associated supporting Trump, and that's okay. Anybody, you can support whoever you want to support. I'm not gonna knock a brother for their choices. All I'm trying to tell you, the reality of it all is this: neither one of them care. They're only gonna come talk to a brother every 4 years. That's all they're gonna do. They're gonna say, "Oh, hey, you can get my vote. Can you vote for me?" Because they know that this year is especially important because every vote's gonna really count in this election. Coming up with two old white males as our choices, which is not good. So yeah, we don't have the wealth, so therefore we don't have the power. In order for you to get power, you need wealth. In order for you to be able to influence your foreign policy, you need wealth. If we could influence our foreign policy, we wouldn't be bombing Gaza. We wouldn't have the Israelis bombing Gaza right now because a lot of blacks are not for that. A lot of blacks would say, "Hey, I pick up my phone today. I say, hey, Senator, hey, tell those Israelis to stop bombing Gaza." Next thing you know, that senator's on the floor talking about Israel needs to stop bombing Gaza. Why? Because I got wealth. That's what wealth brings to people, and we as blacks don't have that.
And we need to work towards getting that, bro. And I think you mentioned a couple years ago, Tony, that what we don't have right now as men, we want our children to have that in the future. So what you're doing right now, Tony, by investing in something for your children in the future, when they're 10, 18, 19, they ain't gotta go to a white man, for money. They ain't gotta get a loan, with terrible interest rates. They come to you as their dad and hey dad, I need something for business. Yeah, give me a business plan. here's some cash. And but that's what Indians do, bro. That's what the Chinese do.
Yep.
That's what the whites do. And hopefully we can get this done ourselves, bro. Ain't that right, Tony?
Yes, we have to get this done, brothers, because the thing is that too many of us are on the wrong path. Like I said, 75% of blacks have been raised by single women in the United States. Women that only wants us to focus on women financing. They don't want us to focus on family finances, which it really is. When a man focuses on his finances, focusing on family finances because eventually he will come to raise a family. You don't want to walk into a situation where you're raising a family with no money, with no wealth. Trust me, brothers, it is not the prettiest because when you don't have that wealth, and I give you an example, man, and I use myself as an example because my brother, I'm always a parent. My ex-wife that I had for 9 years, I really still call her 9 year when I stand. Well, I was researching my myself on Google because I got my McAfee account now, so it's cleaning up my identity, if you will, in the states because you can't Google nobody in Japan, no matter what. We're protected, but the United States and the West, they don't protect their citizens like they should. Well, I see this name pop up, and I knew it was the name of the husband that my ex had married, and I pulled up his LinkedIn account because I was trying to figure out why is he affiliated with me. That means that the reason why he's affiliated with me because he's been checking up on me. That's why illegally he's been checking up on me. Maybe he checked my credit report or whatever the case may be. So I see his LinkedIn account. And I found out that he was in the military for 20 years. She met him when he was in the Air Force. That's when she left me. She went with him. So what I'm trying to say is, at the time that she separated from me to go with him, she basically messed around on me to go with him. I didn't have any wealth. I was working as a finance manager, as a new finance manager, trying to get my stuff all built up. But this woman never gave me a chance to build up my foundation. I had given her a lot of things. She lived with me in Saudi Arabia. She didn't have to work or nothing like that. She was happy. But when I got to the point where I couldn't provide for her, she went and she looked for another brother who had some sort of things going for him over me. So that's what I'm trying to say is, yeah, to me, I'm good thing she's gone, good riddance, get out of here. I probably would have ended up gotten rid of her on my own anyway because I didn't really like her. I was like Richard Pryor say, I was in love with a bitch I couldn't stand, right? But that's in the past 20 years ago. She's done. That's a long time ago. But what I'm saying is, had I had the wealth, I would have been treated totally differently, and I would have had the power to do things the way I want to do, like I do now. So that's why, brothers, you gotta have that wealth when you got that family, man. You gotta things gonna run your way and your way only. That's the way it should always work.
Facts there, Tony. Brother, I've personally seen, good dads, right, who have children, right. Only thing missing is wealth, right, and later on, the children disrespect them, particularly the daughters, disrespect the father because he ain't got money, blah blah blah, etc. etc. And it's just the way the world works, man. People just respect money, power, and wealth, and we need it as black men, or you won't get respect not only in society, but even within your own family, Tony. But I've seen it plenty of times where, daughter disrespects the dad, because he ain't got nothing, bro. And that will not be our portion. That will never be our portion in Jesus' name. No way, no way, bruv. Um, awesome, brother. Awesome. So, Tony, do you have any statements here before I open up the phone lines, bro, for questions?
Yes, so I want to say one last thing, brothers, before you open the line, man, to the brothers, man. I love my brothers. I'm back up on this platform because I wanted to reach out to more brothers. I like IP's platform because he has access to a lot of brothers. So I want the brothers to know, man, the truth. The truth of the matter is this: the West hates you, the women hate you in the West. They're never going to give you what you want. They're always going to take away from you. They've been taking away from you for years. You can get out of that matrix, brother. You can live in a beautiful country. So, I mean, anywhere you want. I just happen to be living in Japan, outside the West. And you can be treated with the utmost respect, no stress, man. People just, they just don't bother you. They don't concern themselves with your matters. You have to carry yourself a certain way with respect. Of course, you have to respect your local culture. The way it works in Japan, you respect, you get respect back, or you get respect first, you need to respect back. So either way, you're gonna be fine. So that's what I want to say to brothers. You got to get out of the matrix. You needed to get out of the matrix. This is how bad it is for brothers living in the West. You needed to get out of the West yesterday. That's how bad it is. Because I can start to
Facts.
see a lot worse now that I'm outside.
Fact,
That's what
no,
happens.
facts there, Tony. It's getting really bad in the Matrix, bro. Women again more horrible. The wealth transfer that's missing out, that's skipping out on black men. Um, it's becoming an absolute hellhole, bro. Personally, I don't think Trump or Biden are going to change things for black people. I think, personally, I feel like America isn't for black men anymore. And I know black brothers have been raised and born there, but you got Latinos coming in from the border. You got the Asian population that's growing exponentially. You got white people. They're going to do what white people do. So, black men are being ignored. And I mean it, bruv. Black men are being passed on in the West. They don't care about us. Ain't that right, Tony?
No, they don't. Because if they did care about us, they wouldn't let all these migrants cross the border. People don't understand. Migrants, immigrants, whatever you want to call it, they take jobs away from black men. They really do. The black man is the one that gets hurt the most because those are less chance for him to feed his family. Let's just put it this way. I mean, they were like, well, you didn't want to do that job anyway, so we're going to give it to somebody else. No, you did want to do a job. Brothers also be looking at jobs like plumbing, electrician. Those are jobs that pay really well. The white boys, believe it or not, they're carpenters, plumbers, electricians. They make a lot of money off of that without college degrees because they know that those jobs are always needed. Even more so, I know we're getting them into tech, but even more than tech, those jobs are still up at the top of the ladder. So brothers need to understand that we live in a capitalist society. When you live in a capitalist society, you have to understand that you have to do things on your own. You cannot rely on the system to help you out. That's the way capitalism works.
Facts, facts. So I got another legend in the building, Mr. Theo Waff. Let me bring you in the background, brother. Let me bring you in, Theo back here. Hey, what's going on, Theo? How you doing, brother?
I just got done teaching, so yeah, we had a pretty good class tonight. Did a lot of work. Hey, Tony, how you doing? Mokarimaka.
I'll give you a love, there, brother. What's him now?
Yeah. So I'm watching your posts on Facebook, and I'm just like, why am I in America? So you definitely influenced me. You were able to get that house designed faster that I could get information regarding the regulation building my own house in Houston.
What?
And yeah, it's so bad here just for building a house. There's so much crap going on. I just said I'm done. I'm not even going to build a house in the United States. So I'm going to take my gym equipment and move it outside the States. I'm done. That's it. So it's like I can move my entire gym for about $50,000 on a boat. And I was like, sign me up. I'll do it. So it's gonna take me a little while, but you're exactly right. Like, so I'm working in Japan remotely right now. Of course, I'm working in the United States also. Working in Japan is wonderful. The amount of respect I get, camaraderie, that I have opportunities to teach, to tutor. I get, my big thing is I get respect. In the United States, you're just a piece of meat, a quarterly piece of meat. That's it. And you get to do interesting kinds of work, but there's no growth in it. It's more like scavengers. And I don't know why people do it. It doesn't make sense, but people are always thinking that they can do enough to get accepted to do something in America. I'm like, no, it's not that way at all. You're constantly being used. You have no value. So just accept it the way it is. Get your money and then get out. Go someplace else. Work someplace else. And then I'm telling you, to my students, where I'm working right now, I'm one of the highest certified guys. A lot of you guys have more than enough certifications. You have education for Python. You can definitely make it in Japan. What you have to do is get in contact with recruiters. You need to you need to go to LinkedIn Japan and make a profile in LinkedIn Japan. You need to learn some Japanese and then actually go over there. And it's not that hard. The biggest time of hiring is between March and June. So we're now ending it. The next big time will be September, October. And then it usually dies off after that until the next year, which is normal. But there are plenty of times and opportunities for you to go ahead and get that job in Japan. I started negotiating my job that I'm working in now. I started negotiating in February. Took 2 months. I got it. So if you position yourself correctly, you can definitely go. Why you're not doing it, I have no idea. When you, as a black man, when you're in Japan, it's like total liberation. You're like, why didn't I do this before? This is ideal. I get everything I want. And I don't know why black men are in the West. It doesn't make sense. Like, you always want to be a plantation, bro? I mean, do you want that? Like, imagine being in a country where there was no slavery of us.
Yes.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
You know what? I just saw a comment too, Theo, in IP that a brother was like, he heard there's a lot of black business in Japan. Yes, there are. In fact, I know two brothers that live 35 minutes up the hill from me in Miyoko City. One brother is actually in Nagano, but they're right close to each other. He owns two restaurants now. He just opened up his new restaurant last fall. His name is Don Gray and then Derek Gray. Don Gray is the one that owns the ski lodge, and Derek Gray, his brother, they're both from California, of course, owns the two restaurants. He owns the Arrowhead restaurant in Lake Shinano, there in Nagano, and Shinano City, and then he owns another restaurant on this side in Niigata, up in the Onsen. So brothers have business over here, and there's another brother in Nagano City that he told me about that owns a restaurant down there. There's brothers here. Brothers are doing very well in Japan, and that's how I got to tell people.
I was going to say it's easier to own and operate a company in Japan than it is in the United States.
Yep.
Straight out, it's easier for me to. I have my own company in Japan. It's easier for me to understand the accounting, regulations, everything in Japan than the United States. The United States has by far too much regulation. It is a worrisome problem. It's good. Japan's like, you want to make a company? Good for you. Go for it.
Yep. Yeah, so, he's right. Japan is so easy, man, because it's like, I mean, I don't have any desire to do because I'm retired, but if I wanted to, I could snap up a company right now. I'm a landowner now, and I build my house. I could build me a nice little piece to my house, addition to my house, to make it a business right there if I wanted to. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's right. And nobody looks down on you. Everybody's treating you. I mean, Japan, you're a businessman. You get treated with the utmost respect too, man. You really do. You're a businessman in Japan.
Yeah,
you get treated with respect. So
yeah,
there you go.
That's what I did. I got treated with respect. I got treated with respect as a teacher. The older I got, the more respected I get. Not here. No, I don't know why you guys stay in the West. I have no idea. So, I mean, for myself, I may or may not move to Japan. I'm working there now. I'm kind of 50-50 about actually moving there. But if I don't, I'm probably going to go to Thailand or Brazil or something like that. I will still do something with Japan. But you guys, particularly you guys who are single in your 30s, you being in the West, why?
Yeah,
I don't get it. You don't have any major property. You're healthy. You can learn another language, and you can date 21-year-old Japanese women effortlessly.
With empty wounds.
Why are you still in the West? It makes no sense. So I would say you guys go over there, have your fun, actually experience life. You see what Tony's doing? How many men do you know at Tony's age, actually black men at Tony's age, who look like him, who are as relaxed as him, happy? You know, the posts I see of him, you guys don't know everything that he's posting. When he's posting in Japan, I know what he's doing. He's actually at really good places. He's not at BS places. He's at high level places in Japan. I look at this and I'm like, that's where I usually hang out. That's where I do things. Like, he's retired and he's hanging out where I used to hang out when I was making like $250,000 a year. What? And he's having a good time, right? And then you guys, again, my students, I'm talking to you guys who are listening to this. You having trepidation from going? I'm like, what's wrong? Like, do I need to push you into the airplane? What? I mean, Junko is waiting for you on the other side. Why are you?
Yes.
Why are you not getting on the airplane? So, guys, go for it. It is such like Tokyo in particular, but also all of Japan, is such a well-mannered, cultured, advanced civilization. It makes the West look like Mars.
Yeah. He's right, fellas. Now,
Yeah.
I give you an example, man. I was in Shinjuku Starbucks back last summer with a brother that I met through IP's channel that's now teaching English in Tokyo. This brother, young brother, he's about 27, and we walked in Starbucks, man. It was crowded, and it was mostly women, 90% women. And I seen a couple open seats, one next to these two women, and the one across from them. And he asked what I wanted to drink. He said, "Don't worry, I'll get it." I said, "Oh, thanks, man." So I went and I sat down right between these women, and they had these 2-seat benches set up. So I guess the one woman was sitting on a 2-seat bench, and so I thought Ghani was going to sit across from me when he came and sat down, but he actually sat next to me. So I needed to move over a little bit. So I remember moving over, and I said to her, I said, "Oh, see, I got to move over a little bit." She moved about an inch only. A Western woman would have been like, "Oh no, I'm gonna move farther than that." She moved an inch. I sat down, man. I was sitting on ass almost, right? And it was like, and I was sitting next to her, and I gave her a comment about her hair, her fingernails. Her and her friend were smiling, but they were in the middle of a deep conversation. But she still broke away from her friend, and she was so smiling at me and so happy. I get up. About 20 minutes later, me and Ghani found another seat by the front door. This other Japanese girl walks in, beautiful, younger, and I noticed her when she walked out. I said, "Woo, Ghani, look." All the people in the place, she sat down purposely next to Ghani so she could talk to us. And
Ah.
Ghani, he didn't say nothing to her. I said, "Hey, I like your nails. Ooh, you got a cute smile." Man, she was all melting in my hand. And I was doing it for Ghani. I wanted Ghani to talk to her. But I guess he wasn't feeling comfortable yet. But I'm just keep telling you guys, this is how it is in Japan, man. You gotta have confidence
Yeah.
because there's so many.
So I'm thinking about what I would say in that kind of situation. I would say, "Bijin dakara hasukashi da yo ne," right? Which means because you're beautiful, I'm shy.
You're shy.
And then I would just act like a shy boy, but they know it's a joke, and they just take the compliment that I called her Bijin because it means beautiful woman. She would just take that and she'd get like flustered and start giggling. Dude, we're gone. Okay, it's starting. The Nampa has started. All right. I'm just gonna keep on driving that as much as I possibly can because I know I've got my opening, right? And just make her laugh and just do little things with her, and you can probably get her number and she'll talk to you later on, right? It's that easy. Whereas in America, I have to look at the land and say, okay, like this is a potential Me Too incident. This is a potential lawsuit right here. This person has a TikTok. I might be Me Too there and called a creep. I just want a latte. Like, how do I get a latte? Like, is there some way I get a latte? So then, like, do I need to like blindfold myself and like walk through it? Latte, please. Give the man a latte. Right? That's how bad America is. You will never have that in Japan ever. Nothing.
Nope.
It's inconceivable. They just don't act that way. So again, my office, like the girls, we do Zoom conversations, right? They just sit there and giggle. They giggle all the time. They're very feminine. I teach them what to do. I teach them how to do AWS. I teach them about security. They're all happy. They all call me senpai.
Senpai. Sensei.
They're all beautiful and shaggable. Like that. They're ready to go. I'm serious. Like, why, guys who are listening, Tony's living the dream right now.
I'm living the dream, brothers.
I'm a fallen angel. I'll probably get back eventually. Why are you only listening? Why aren't you with us on the other side?
And the only thing I can say, man, is IP, Theo and IP know me for a few years, man. They know I'm not gonna get up here and blow smoke on the bodies, man. I'm living the dream, man. I mean, I'm getting the house built, brothers. In fact, they're gonna start building my house next. We just went through the Jichen side. Theo knows what that is. G10 side. We just went through that at the groundbreaking ceremony. And then next month, the 1st of July, because I'm heading to Tokyo the 2nd for three days in Tokyo. See my life. I'm heading to Tokyo. They're starting to get my house built July the 1st. I'm heading to Tokyo on the 2nd. Get back on the 5th. The end of the month, I'm going to be up in Hokkaido, Sapporo, Hakodate for like 12 wonderful days up there. Then October, November comes back. Derek Taylor's going to be over here visiting me for a month. I'm going to spend 3 weeks with him out of that month in Fukuoka, Nagasaki, Yokohama, Hiroshima, Osaka, Kobe, Kyoto, Tokyo. We're going to be all over on the Shinkansen. I mean, brothers, you can do this, man. It's a life. I don't understand why brothers are still in the Matrix, man. I really don't. It's like, I know you got your things going on, man, but it's just the best. It's the best. I've never been this happy in my whole life, brothers. Never.
Yeah, it's not only just happy, free, like you actually can live life. Everything is cool. If you want to drink a beer at 2:00 in the morning and walk down the street, no problem.
Yes. No problem.
I'm like,
No problem.
so can someone nuke us so we can have some rights? Right?
Yep.
Because I would like to do that. That sounds cool, right?
Yep.
No violence towards you. No one's going to do anything towards you at all. Nothing.
No.
No. Do you ever have a problem with seeing narcotics? I never did in Tokyo.
Nope.
Or Yokohama.
Nope.
Nothing.
And I didn't have a problem with the cops either. The cops saw me taking pictures on my property. They didn't stop. Yeah. They drove by. My car was parked on the side of the street. They just drove around and just kept going. No problem.
Yeah. I just go right up to the cops all the time and ask them for advice. Or I tell them who I am. I just say, like, I'm a tourist, or like I just moved to this area and I need to have this kind of information. They're like, cool. They want to know who you are, but it's not an intrusion of peace. That's just a part of their job. They're looking out for you. And how many times? I mean, I'll just straight up be honest. How many times was I straight out drunk, out of my mind? Like I could barely walk, and the cops knew me, and they're like, do you need some help walking home? Do you want us to walk you home? Are you okay? And I would tell them what's going on. They're like, well, at least we'll get you a taxi. And that's it. They give me a taxi, I go home. Or like, okay, I love cycling. And I'd be out in the middle of nowhere. I run out of water and I'm going through dehydration. I go to a Koban and I just beg them. I say, please let me use water. They're like, no problem. Can you imagine going to a police station asking for water in America?
No. They think you're some sort of criminal. What do you want? Yeah. What are you here for? What are you spying on us?
I'm thirsty. Please help me. Nope. You're not going to get nothing. Nope.
Thirst is down the street. You go down the street. See you.
Nothing. But they're like, yeah, go to the back. It's fine. Like, here you go. Japan is such a civilized, beautiful country. When I get homesick here in Austin, I just go on to Google Japan and I literally just take a walk virtually. And I go walk in various places. I just remember what it was. I'm like, why am I here? I have no answer.
Let me read the super text. Let me read the super text. Hold on. Shout out to Mr. Eric Powell for the support. The problem with BM in the States is that they don't organize. Nothing will change if they don't change their inability to organize. That's an interesting super chat. Tony and Phil, what's your thoughts on the super chat?
I'll let Tony go first. I got a comment on this.
Okay, so organize as far as what? Because we can organize, but what are we organizing? We have to have a plan for organizing, and we have to have a goal. Because I see too many people out there wanting to organize, but nothing's really getting done out of it. And to me, the main thing, brothers, is more than organizing. You got to get the wealth. The wealth is the key. Because if you organize with people from different wealth, with wealth disparities, you're not going to get nothing done. So, for example, Theo and I, we could organize something. We find more people with wealth like ourselves. Then if you got 10 brothers with wealth, they're on the same page. Yeah, that you can organize like that. But if you got a guy with wealth, but then 9 guys with nothing, or one guy with student loan debt, or this, that, the other, you can't really get nothing done because everybody's on different stages. Give you an example. When it goes time, brothers know this, when it comes time to put money into the pot, Let's put money into the pot to get things done. If you don't have the same wealth disparity, I mean, you don't have the same wealth, you it's not going to get done. It's not going to get done because
Yeah,
the guys with the wealth, why, right?
I agree with you. You have to have the jobs. You do have to have some sort of progress. The other thing too is that in the United States, any organization black men do is underneath a matriarchy. The matriarchy is
Yes.
that there to benefit you. It's to benefit her and her alone. There is no growth with that. There is only a transfer of wealth to them. That's it. You need to retain the wealth for yourself. You can do that in Japan. You can't do that in the States. It's impossible.
Yep. Gio's right because
Damn.
you're being run by other sources. So, for example, like you see, like I don't even watch black movies anymore, black episodes anymore, because all of those episodes, most of them, are backed by black women
Yep.
and or BWs. And what I'm trying to say is, I'm not saying that BWs are bad. I'm not here to talk bad about BWs. All I'm saying though is that that's not giving our take on things.
Correct.
When we ourselves need to be behind these, we need to be the end source of this. We need to be the producer, the director of this. But we're not. So things will get slipped into that episode or that movie that does not benefit the black man. That's what I see. So I'm very suspicious of those kind of organizations and those kind of endeavors.
I'm suspicious of them as well. To be honest, our depiction is always bad because we cannot control our depiction. If we go abroad, we control it from day one.
Yep. You're right, Theo. You're so right because when I'm here and I walk down the street in Japan and I respect the Japanese people and I do things in the respectful way everywhere I go, people look at me and they look at my image and they're like, "That's a good man." I can feel it. I can see it.
Oh,
How they
yep.
respond to me. You can. What I'm trying to say to the brothers is, you can come to this part of the world and you can recreate your own image. You can no longer do that in the Matrix because even if you walk out your house today and you treat everybody nice, they're gonna look at you with suspicion.
Mm-hmm.
In Japan, they don't look at you with suspicion. They look at you as being a great person.
Correct. Yes, you are a good, honorable person among the community, and then they respect you even more because of how you act. So you have an encompassing interest to respect them. It's kind of energy back and forth with each other. You don't have that in
Yeah.
the States. It's a tearing down effect.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right,
It's
let me
so,
read the super chats here. Oh, go on,
yeah.
Tony.
Oh, sorry, you're good. You're good, brother. I'm sorry. You're good.
Shout out to Mr. Pooh. What's up, Pooh? Pooh in the house. Team Korea, I must admit. As a black man, I've never experienced so much kindness from anyone. My guard was up. Japanese people never mistreated me and always made me feel like I was accepted. Great dating experience too. Look at that, man. All signs are pointing for a million black men to go to Japan by the end of 2025. Ain't that right, Theo?
Yes, that is your goal. Like okay, so you want 1 million black men on airplanes. Let's just at this point, let's try to get 100 of them from our groups. All
There you
right,
go.
because I doubt if we got 10, I'd be surprised. I've only had so far like 4 guys who are either in Japan or they're back and forth in Japan from my classes, and I have at this point like what? Oh, I've taught over 560 black men.
Hmm.
I'm at like 4.
Wow.
So
Damn.
it's not, you know, it's it's hard to get this going. And the 4 who do it, they're all making over like 250,000. So they
Awesome.
got the money. Yeah.
Fives, turn your camera on in the background, please. So I know you're not a troll. Thank you. Turn your camera off. Turn it off. Let me bring your fives in the background. What's going on, fives?
Sure.
How you doing, bro?
I'm doing all
All
right.
right,
How
what's
are
up?
y'all? Can
The
y'all hear me?
fives.
Yep.
Can y'all hear
Kikoyo.
me clearly?
Kikoyo.
Yeah, we got you.
You're
Keep
loud
it
and
real.
clear.
Okay.
Fire away, bro.
Okay. So first off, congratulations on a well-deserved retirement.
Thanks, brother. Thanks, brother.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
No, I said thanks. Thanks a lot, brother. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. I guess I'll start with because you invested in stocks, right? So, what was your thought process as far as like the investment goes? Like, did you like do the, dollar cost averaging lump sum? Did you, get like windfall? Like, what was the kind of methodology of the continuous investment that led to you never needing to acquire another job or start another business ever again if you didn't want to?
Yes, I'm glad. Thanks for asking that question, brother. So when I first started investing, I was investing, like I said, in Saudi Arabia back in 2000, and that was right around the right a little bit before the dot com, probably 99, 2000, somewhere around there. And I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I just knew that whatever, you'd be at work, you hear somebody say, "Hey man, what about, oh, did you hear what happened to so and such company?" And say, "Oh, what's that? I need to get that." And I would buy, but then I was also at the same time buying into the mutual fund, exchange traded funds. And so I wasn't paying too much attention to those because I didn't understand how that all worked at the time. I didn't realize till later on that they were actually holding a lot of different companies. Like you get some funds that are tech heavy, some funds that are like industry heavy, like as far as like oil heavy, those types of things, and some are like insurance heavy, like financial heavy, things of that nature. So when I finally got educated, and a little bit after the pandemic, when I started getting really heavy back into paying attention to my investments, because I was already investing at work. But I think my biggest change and my biggest eye opener was when I changed my 401k into an individual retirement account. That was the best thing I'd ever done, and that was a little bit before I found out about my previous investments from Saudi. When I started changing my 401k into an IRA, I already had a separate brokerage account, and then I had another account later on where I opened up a Roth. I just basically took money from my other job, my new latest job I had, and moved over to a Roth. When I started getting more control of my investments, my whole thing was I started looking at, and this is what brothers need to look at too. You need to start looking at your entire wealth, at your net worth. Don't just look at your income. Don't just look at what you make. Don't just look at your job. Look at your net worth. Always look at your assets minus your expenses. When I started looking at my assets minus my expenses, that started to help me more out with my investments as I would, because you can give yourself a raise with your investments every month. You can give yourself a raise by reinvesting your dividends, reinvesting them. Also, if you're working, put money in your investments. I still put money in my investments every month. Before you see your income, put a certain portion of your income into those investments, whatever you're living off of. Put those in there to those investments, and then you'll watch those investments grow. So my thinking is, and always has been, always will be, now that I've got myself on board with all this, is to always check my net worth. Every month, I know what my net worth is. Every month, every day, actually. Once you focus on your net worth, then you start to focus more on your wealth.
Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Any more questions, Fives?
So yeah, I do have one more. It's not going to be like very technical heavy.
Before you ask, sorry, brother.
But I guess
Before you ask Fives, Tony, how long do you have left, Tony? You good? Just want to make sure we
Yeah,
respect your time.
I'm good. I'm still good, brother. I'm good. No worries. I'm good. I see I got time. I'm good.
Okay, February Fives.
okay. Um, so I'm just so it's not necessarily as technical as the investment question, but I guess just in your opinion, right? Because right now I'm tracking towards going that direction, right? Of course, the biggest obstacle for me is finances right now, but I'm getting that together, right? I used to have 3, 4 accounts to deal with, now I only have two. So I'm making progress. It's slow, but it's happening. So outside, like, let's ignore finances in general, right? Because it's usually the number one reason. Outside of that, why do you think less black guys make their way over to Asia in general? Do you think it's distance? Do you think it's fear of the unknown? Do you think it's cultural differences? What do you think?
Well, it's a combination, but I think the first biggest thing, of course, is that they Okay, let's look at the typical black man. He's making some good money. I know. I talk to, like, say, my friend Associator all the time about this. Um, they're making some money. They got a decent job. They're trying to invest, but they can't invest like they want because, and they can't just jump on a plane and move to Japan like they want because you know why? They're bogged down in what we call black taxes. They got family members who need this from them. They're always needing something. Their mama needs something. Their sister needs something. The auntie, the uncle, somebody who's not. That's what happens when you get a group of people as collective that don't control that much wealth or doesn't have that much wealth. They start to need things from people that may even have a little bit of money. They need something because they don't have anything. So I think, yeah, cultural difference is also another reason why, but I don't think that's the biggest concern for black men, especially for confident black men who are not afraid to go anywhere they want in the world, who are not afraid to walk down the streets. The average black man is not afraid to walk down the streets, so I don't think that's an issue for them. I just think that it has to do with some family member. A lot of times it has to do with family members if they do have the wealth to move over there or the money to move there, giving them the guilt trip. Oh, you're leaving us. Oh, why are you going over there? But well, you know we need here. You know mama's sick. You know this. You know that. The other. It's mainly because of the family that's bogging them down. Is what I think in the long run. And this is referring to men who have the money to do that.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with this. This is definitely an issue. There's a lot of black men who are like basically parentified, and they are always thinking about other people. The resources are going to other people, and they're basically a workhorse so that other people in the community don't have to work. And I tell these guys, forget about everyone. Get your passport, go get a one-way ticket and go to Japan. Done. And
Yeah.
whatever happens to these people, they are grown adults. They can figure it out. And they can't understand it. They're like, no. And I'm like, Kevin Samuels talked about this all the time. This is why you don't have a family. They have family, other people around you, but you are their retirement program. And this is a black tax. So you have got just to say, no, I'm done, and go out and do it. And let the cards fall where they may, and you're gonna be just fine. Right? But if you don't do this, you're gonna hit 50, 60, 70 years old and not gonna have a family. That's it.
No, I agree with you on that too because I want to piggyback off of that. It's because the thing is this too, and I learned this from living in Japan. And well, I knew this before moving. That's why I don't have the stress. Anybody in your family that's giving you any kind of drama, cut them off. You move to Japan, shut them down. My mother kicked me out of her life back in 20 because of something that she didn't like the way I was behaving because she treated me bad all my life anyway growing up. And then she expected to just come back and be the queen archer of the house. I couldn't let that happen. I finally woke up and realized that I was being used as a black man. So I cut off anybody and everybody that was giving me drama. I cut them off too. So since I've been living in Japan, I have not had any contact with them, and I'm stress free. So if any stress you had in the matrix, anybody that was bothering you in the matrix, you as a man, you have to be cold. You have to be ice cold, and you have to say, "I don't want to talk to you. I'm done." And you have to do that, and you don't feel sorry. The women will make you feel. You know, our BWs are good at making us feel guilty. Oh, oh no, you didn't go. You didn't go struck down. No, you have to go with the way you yourself envision your own life. Then once you get that package set, and once you do what you're doing, guess who's going to come crawling back into your life on your terms? Your family. That's the way it has to happen. There's no other way.
I would say
Yeah.
even for myself, I didn't even care. So like my parents went through a divorce when I was in Japan. I was like, I don't care. They said, come back, help us this, that. I said, no, you guys made your problem. It's your issue. Has nothing to do with me. I'm going to continue on with my career here. One of the best decisions I ever made. They absolutely collapsed. Everything that they did financially was like poof, gone. I was just fine. I was continuing on. They were just engaged in entitlement, vanity, in delusion.
I can still
I
hear you
just
guys.
so you guys, I'm telling you, you guys do not want to have any association with any of that crap. You just want to
Nope.
just free yourself, continue on, have your life for yourself, I remember when that happened with my parents. I was dating a beautiful Japanese girl there. It was before I met my wife, but I was just meeting this absolutely stunner. I'm glad I had my times with her. I'm glad it was that, you know, that my parents never cared if I dated or I didn't date when I was in high school. And I was like, okay, I don't care what happens to you guys during your divorce. I've got a stunner right here. Right? I got my own situation. So guys, get out of the country. Well, I think what it is for a lot of you is that it it's almost too hard. It seems to be impossible. And unfortunately, like this is also for us as black men, the white guys don't have this problem. They're just like, oh, Japan, cute chicks, gone, done. But getting us abroad is like hard.
If I could just
I definitely agree.
interject, and I'm gonna make this my sorry.
Sure.
No, you go.
Okay. And I'm gonna try and make this my closing statement as well. So I'll try to make this short as possible. But for those who are unaware, as far as the black tax, I can personally vouch for that being real because I am a victim of it. I came back to the United States after being stationed from Germany, right? I wanted to get education and all these things, right? And part of it was for me, but really it was for my mother, right? I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I was pretty much a son husband, right? I came home, started taking care of her. She had a stroke. I'm literally the reason she's still alive today. Gave her literally, I gave her everything she asked me for. And you want to know what happened at the end of it all? She wanted more. She wanted more, right? I had a master's degree. I I didn't know what else I could do. And the lesson I learned from that is that, man, if I would have just did what I wanted to do from the get-go, I would be in Japan right now. I wouldn't be dealing with you right now. I wouldn't be dealing with all this trauma right now. I wouldn't be dealing with all this pain and this heartache. I wouldn't have had to go to therapy 5 different times just to get myself straight and get into. And it honestly is really, I'm not sure if y'all are religious, but excuse me for a moment because I do have to thank my Lord and Savior God because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be. I am very lucky. I am very fortunate. So I apologize if this sounds too harsh or draconian, but I hate my mother. I
No, no,
do.
no, no. You don't
I
have to apologize,
genuinely,
brother.
I genuinely, I don't feel, I genuinely believe that she is probably not going to go to heaven when she passes away. She was that bad. She was that abusive. She was that terrible. It took 5 of 10. So even if I can't go to Japan, which is still the goal, it's still the goal. But let's say for whatever reason I can't go, right? I am telling every single young brother that will listen, do not do what I did because I've already been at the end of the road. It's not worth it. Just go. Just go. I swear to you, that community, that whole lame, that whole nerd, that whole you or whatever. And I'm sorry if my voice is shaky, but I'm so passionate about this, it hurts because
Mhm.
this was the crowd that I wanted to be in the first place. And guess what? They're all IT bros. They all make 100+ thousand dollars a year. They all date
Mhm.
extremely feminine, gorgeous, beautiful women that want
Mhm.
nothing that actually want nothing for the best for them. They want to raise a family. They want to do the unit. So you're meaning to tell me that I got flamed for all these years, all this heartache, all this BS, all this crap, and I should have been there and I should have stayed where I was in the first place, and I would have been better off than the rest of you? Are you kidding me? And y'all keep promoting the garbage today? I listened to Japanese music for about a month straight. My mood actually went up because I'm not
Yep.
filling my head full of violence, poison, and debauchery. It's maddening. I went to downtown Chicago, Southside downtown Chicago recently. My soul didn't feel safe.
Damn, that's bad, brother.
There was an air, I'll call it an airing out, but I hope y'all picking up what I'm putting down, right by a family member's childhood home that I stayed at.
Hmm.
You want to know what they told me? Just listen to some music, calm down. This shouldn't be happening in the first place, is the problem.
No.
I'll
Brother,
comment.
Sorry.
Oh, go
I'll
ahead,
come
Theo.
on.
I'm sorry.
The first time I came
done.
back,
I'm done, y'all.
first time I came back from America and I went to Chicago, it was one of the scariest experiences. I couldn't believe that the city was designed that way, and that was after being in Japan for years. And I'm just like, oh yeah, there's a problem. And occurred with my mom. Oh yeah, same thing. I had 2 bouts of therapy just basically based upon her. Like, she was a nightmare. I guarantee you though, she was the reason why I left. She was the inspiration. Believe me, I was trying to get that ticket one way. I had no regrets. She talked later on about how I broke her heart because she thought I was gonna come whimpering back. I need my mommy, and then like 1 year went by, 2 years went by. He's like, oh yeah, he's not coming back home, is he? And I was living my life, and that's what you got to go do. So I hear what you're saying, bro. Get on the airplane. You're gonna enjoy it on the other side.
Yeah, I do too, brother, because I haven't spoken to my mother in over 4 years now, and my aunties and any woman on my mom's side, because I realized, and I didn't realize this until I started watching Kevin Samuels actually, how the black woman, the BW, wherever we want to classify it, like I'm not speaking for all of them, because I do like Kirsten Watson, the Los Angeles Dodgers reporter. She's a solid black woman that's doing a really good job. Been married to a man for years. She's a feminine woman. She's the best black woman I know I've seen in the States on TV so far. But anyway, unfortunately, there's not a lot of good ones right now, and we all been in situations with our moms, because my mother was the matriarch. Well, she's not the matriarch, but she was the first born in her family, so she pretty much controls everybody on that side, and they don't have a lot of men. My uncle, who died during COVID, she was just taking money from him, and I give an example of how they treat us, how they disrespect us. So when he died in 21, my wife was just found out she was pregnant with my daughter, and it was in the middle of the COVID. Everybody know we wearing masks and everything, right? He died 3 hours away from me, and my mother had spoken to me over a year, and she gets my auntie on the phone, and my auntie told my cousin, hey, have Tony go out there and pick up all of Uncle Mike's stuff in a COVID-infested roommate's house, and not caring about my family whatsoever. When I'm going to bring people back, COVID back to my house, I told her flat up, no. I said in the worst case scenario, I said, F no. I'm not doing nothing, because I got to protect my family. See, they don't seem to understand that your family is your number one source. My wife and kids are my number one concern, and I'm not about to let anybody in that family tell me any different. And so that means that she never cared one iota about what would happen to my family. She was so busy wanting to know what her brother had that she was always siphoning money from. So she was willing to risk her son and his family's life to get some material items. And I just told him flat out no. And then when my daughter's born, auntie gets all upset. Well, you didn't tell me her name. I said, I did tell you her name. I did tell you she was born. So she tried to create drama. I was like, y'all out of my life too. You don't need them. You have to wake up and you have to say, I'm a man. And if you can't respect me because you've been raising me to hate myself all these years, then you can go to hell wherever it is you want to go to. And that I have no problem telling them that. I will tell her that to her face. I will never speak to her again, ever. And I don't care. And I like what Theo said. I don't care. And why should you, brother? Get on the plane, go to Japan, brother. Get away. Get as far away from her as you can possibly get away, man. Any drama, get away from them. Your life is going to be so much better.
Yeah. And you see how free Tony acts here? He's a man. See the further away you get from America, the more liberated you actually become.
Yep.
So get on the airplane. Just do it. Fives, reach out to me. Let me help you out. But we got to get you out as soon as we can.
Yep.
But
All right.
guys, yeah, go ahead. Research.
Okay.
Shout out to Social Shada for the support. I tried to explain my situation to a woman, and she thought I should sacrifice myself for my relatives' benefits. That opened my eyes. Facts, bro. A lot of black men were seen as, sacrificial lambs in our community. Just use men for money, use men for their time and resources. Unfortunately, it is what it is. BWs, and even I've noticed that. And shout out to Show Shader, right? He spoke about the black tax, Tony. In regards to constantly giving money to relatives on a monthly basis. If you're giving $200, right, to someone in your family, how the flip can you build wealth? Think about it, Tony, right? Because that money can go into a fund, like an ETF or a mutual fund, but it's going towards, someone in your family. Right now, I'm not against helping that family, right? But when it's constant, when you can actually work yourself, right, you're thinking, what's going on here? Whereas, white people, Indian people, Chinese people, I don't know anyone in my circle of those races, brother, that are giving their parents money frequently, or siblings. In fact, their parents fund their children. I see a lot of Indian parents, a lot of Chinese parents, a lot of white parents giving money to their children, or even giving them money for deposit for a house fee. We don't have that at all, Tony. We got to work for our ish, and not only do we work for our own ish, brother, we're giving money away frequently to family members. That is the black tax, bro. So how the hell can we build wealth? How?
No, IP, we can't. And here's what me and Associated, we talk a lot. I got some regulars out here to talk to a lot, and Theo's always in my life too. What I like to say too about that IP, to piggyback off that, man, is that, look, and Associated know me. I got on him one day about, because he told me, I'm not gonna get to the details, but he gave up some black tax. I love him. He knew I'm gonna put him out there, man. I'm gonna blast him on that. And I got on him, so he ain't gonna do that no more, right? Because that's my little brother right there. But you're right, man. What happens is they kind of expect us to give them everything. It's like they feel like you owe them something. And I give you guys another example. You see all these poor brothers out there, man, playing football, right? In high school, I would never sign for my son to play football. I mean, I love football, but I know the risk of football. You got women out there, they read it, and there's a line on it that says, and this injury can result in death, right? So the kid will get hurt, get a concussion or something. That woman be out there, she's like, all right, baby, get out there as quick as you can. Get out there. Because she's thinking, get out there and make me that money. That's what she is. Because they look at a black man as like we are just nothing but an ATM. And then you see these BW up there on YouTube saying, oh, the Asian women are using y'all because your wife don't have to work and she using you as ATM. No. As an ATM, no. And the truth of the matter is, no, my wife hasn't worked since 2010. But you know what? I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for my wife's thinking about finances. See, what these women don't understand is they think that a woman has to be bringing you money. But it doesn't make no sense if your wife is making money at her job, but it's not doing nothing for the family. You got women out there that are making more money than their husbands, messing around on their husbands over in the States, and they get mad at him and say, well, you lucky. I'm working. Well, I'm making money for the family. I can do what I want. No. You got into a marriage agreement, and whatever money comes to the house belongs to the house. My wife has never once wanted to go out and buy something just for herself without thinking about her family. She never said, what's in it for me? Theo seen my post. Everybody knows I go all over Japan. A lot of times I go all over Japan by myself because my wife is too busy to go sometimes with my kids. The first thing out of her mouth when I say I'm going to Tokyo or I'm going here is, well, what hotel are you going to stay in? The second thing out of her mouth is, okay, have a good time. Let me know how it was. That's all I get. You do that with a Western woman, especially a BW. Oh, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? What about me? Me. Okay, you going to Tokyo. I'm going to Osaka to kick it with the girls for a week. And they have no reason to do that. It's not even in the equation. So, brothers, get as far away from the matrix, man. I'm telling you, man, these women, they're draining you. They're hurting you, man. They're not doing nothing for you. Nothing for a brother.
If I can just speak on that really quick.
No, so hold on. So the BW I know over here in the UK, right? And I was giving her some tips because she's a friend of a friend, right? And she is out here with bad financial management, right? And we're telling her, listen, put that in stocks, put that in a fund. And I'm telling her, like, listen up here, right? Stop buying designer clothes. You keep buying all these designer clothes, right, of Italians that don't even like black people. Okay, so what's going on here, bruv? She didn't listen. Oh, I gotta look nice. I gotta dress the best. She said, right, she got to stunt on these BITCHs. I'm thinking, yo, this community is just completely finished, bro. A finished community, bro. You know, if you're constantly spending $500, $200 on designer bags, designer clothes, it brings you no value, you know. And then they'll come to the man, hey, I need this for that, I need that for that, I need that for that. I'm sick of it, bruv. I mean, it's mostly BWs on that time. It's insane, bruv. You know, the black tax is real, bro. The black tax is real.
It's real, brothers.
Yeah,
and you got to pay up.
I would get to Japan. I would get the job in Japan if you guys could, or maybe get the job in Japan. Also work remote in the United States. You can do both, and start stacking up your money, and take some time, and then learn Japanese. Get to a good level of at least 4th year university level, and then just have a wonderful life, and enjoy the kind of life you never thought was possible in Tokyo. And if you're in a relationship or not, it doesn't matter. You'll actually be free and have options, and you can travel different countries. You have options to like how do you want to live. You do not get that kind of options in the States. I've been in the States now 13 years. There's nothing here. Nothing except payment to other people. You're always wrong. Blah blah blah. Get out, guys.
Yeah, you know what I want to say, what Theo's saying too. Sorry, guys, is that here's an example, man, of how free I am in Japan. So when I'm in Tokyo, right, or anywhere, and I go on a trip, and I love when I'm in my hotel, and I get a good night's sleep, and then I wake up, and I love when I'm getting ready, I'm shaving, showering, and whatnot, and I'm getting ready. I got nice clothes to wear. I got money in my pocket to be able to get what I want. It's nothing better, brothers, than you walk out of as soon as you walk out your hotel room, you smelling good, looking good, you're a strong black man, and you get on the elevator and go downstairs. And this happened, I never forget, man. At night, I was going out to a live concert to see Incognito up in Takasaki, Japan, a group out of England. And I'm walking, I never forget, I walked out the elevator, man, and I had like a long coat on. I was dressed to the nines, man. My coat was open. I had my Tom Ford on, man. And I was walking past these people, both sides of the hotel lobby were bowing out at me as I was walking by. And I was walking kind of fast. I was trying to get out of there. Brothers, do you know how good that felt? I mean, you know how good it felt? A black man walking in Tokyo, the largest metropolis in the world, doing whatever he chose to do when he wants to do it. You want to talk about feeling rich and wealthy? I can't explain that feeling, brothers. The confidence. My head was like, I was on a natural high, brothers. I'm on a natural high in Japan almost every day. It's like you walk out of your place, you're like, nobody can touch me. Nobody can mess with me. Nobody can say nothing about me. Nobody can stop me from doing what I want to do. I'm going to do it. Brothers, that is true freedom. True freedom, brothers. I'm telling you, got to get out of the matrix.
Yeah, and it's in style too. You get great food, you get great respect.
Yep.
It's wonderful. You have a transportation system that actually works. The medical is good. The laws are good. I mean, everything is set up to protect you. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, Theo, you're right. Everything is set to protect you because some foreigners get over here like, oh, why they got to do this? Why they got to do that? In Japan, we have what we call earthquakes. And you have disasters everywhere, okay? I thought I was going to die on the 1st of January, but I'd forgotten that, wait a minute, it's actually safer than I thought because the homes are built to withstand a certain level of earthquake. They have strict rules, strict building codes in Japan that must be followed. And I'll give you an example of how you can tell. My house I'm getting built, I got my loan approved, but the builder will not get all of their money until the bank says that you built it right the way you're supposed to build it. So you know how in the States, when you go get a house or you buy a house, the bank already starts cutting the check to the builder, regardless of what's going to happen? Well, in Japan, it don't work that way. They get 1/3. The bank goes and inspects. Okay, it's good. They get the next third. The bank goes and inspects. Okay, it's good. They get the final third. The bank goes and inspects. See, that's how it works in Japan. Or they do it. It depends on the bank. Or they do it in 2 different increments. But in the States, they're just like, oh, here's your money, builder. And then you get your house built, and you got all these discrepancies. Now you got to go chase the builder for crap. Your walls falling down, chase the builder. Your floor's wet, chase the builder. That don't happen in Japan, brothers. That don't happen.
I noticed that here, like the housing here, like there's all kinds of problems. It's shoddy. It looks good, but it's not. And not having to have repairers come back in here and redesign things, do re-engineering, do the circuitry again. And I'm looking at them like, this isn't how a house is supposed to be built. In Japan, impossible to have that kind of situation.
No, because I got 30 subcontractors building my house. The main builder, and then he's got 29 subcontractors on there. I looked, they showed me the sheet, this time schedule. I see all these companies that are going to take place in building my house. All these companies. And they're all local people, and they all have reputations that they care about. Not just some in the States. You usually get this one sub. Okay, he's a framer. They frame the house, then they bring in the higher cost people, the electricians, the plumbers, right? They're bumping into each other left and right. Then they bring in the floors, the walls, the pasters, or whatever they want to call them. And before you know it, you're gonna have 5 or 6 people only work on your house. And guess what? Something breaks, they blame somebody else on it. They can't even put down the damn subfloor properly. I found that out when I had to redo my floors back in the States. They couldn't even put a subfloor level. That's why they give you carpet to offset the discrepancies in the subfloor layout. It's just absolute shoddy work, lazy as hell is what the word I want to say for the thing in the States. And that's why the quality of life. Look, Theo makes a lot of money. Theo's one of the richest men I know that I'm personally connected with in the States. But look at him. He's got to protect himself. He's got to worry about all this stuff. He can't walk down the street without worrying about getting shot or this. As a black man, he has a 90% chance of getting killed right outside his house over BS. Is that a good quality of life for us, brothers? Is that the quality of life that you desire? No.
Yep. I've also had cancer twice, 2 minor heart attacks. I'm still having high blood pressure. None of this happened in Japan.
See? Because he would have got pre-checked for cancer in Japan. You would have got a cancer pre-check.
Yep. And my body I was always thin. It's impossible to gain weight there. I mean, you can work at it, but it's just really hard to do.
It is.
My health, like I didn't eat any, like I only ate organic food when I was in Japan. Unless I went to McDonald's, I guess.
Hey, McDonald's is good in Japan, brother. I wouldn't eat McDonald's in the States, but it's good in Japan, man. Once in a while, it's good.
Yeah, just every once in a while.
All right.
Go ahead.
I gotta go to bed soon. It's 4:14 a.m. in the UK. I can just get some sleep. So,
hey, osoi na.
All right, let me read the super chats. Brothers, if you can support in the last 5-10 minutes, that'd be great. Brothers, on watching the live stream, please support the channel and the movement. That'd be greatly appreciated. Shout out to the International Quiet Storm for the support. Extreme IP, Tony and Theo are literally saving lives out here. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Tony and Theo. Much appreciated. Shout out to Eric Powell for the support. Society believes men should work, pay bills, and die. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But that will not be our portion. We will not die young. None of us will die young. Shout out to Jay Bones in the building. What's up, Jay Bones? How you doing, brother? Just Jay Bones. What's up, IP, Theo, and Tony? Hope you brothers are 100%. Yes, brother. Shout out to you, brother. Hope you're well, brother. So let's go on for another 10 minutes and we'll wrap up the stream. We'll give it 10 minutes max. So if you want to call in, please call in. If you can't call in, please hit the super chat or PayPal so your questions read out. Okay, let's go on for another 10 minutes. So, Fire, do you have any questions, bro?
Well, I guess more statement that will likely lead to a question. But everyone who's listening right now, as someone who went to Japan for the first time last year, literally a dream trip, did everything I wanted to do. literally. And the funny thing is that when I told people that I was going to Japan and that had been my lifelong dream since I was a child, at least my mother's side of the family, I just got eye rolls. Just, oh my God, here we go with this. Here we go with this nerd stuff, and literally everything that Tony and Theo are saying. And first off, my condolences to you, Tony, on the loss of your family, and I am glad that you're still,
Thanks, bro.
and thank God that you're still here, Theo. Let's start with that.
Mhm.
But what they're saying about the black tax is absolutely, because my mother's not the only family member that I helped out. I helped out my brother as well. I moved in with him. I tried to help him get him on the straight and narrow. He had some issues. I literally, like, if anybody, like, I have the receipts to prove it too. So just, I tried my best. 7 months I put into this person in this, but unfortunately it's too late for it. He don't want to change. He don't he sees my passport stamped up and he's just kind of like, oh, whatever, you can find women here, blah blah blah. I'm like, no, you can't. But I'm sorry that all you've ever been to is Germany because I brought you there, and Mexico because you heard about it from a bunch of hood rat friends. But no, when you come to Japan, it's completely different. So
Mm.
yeah, the black tax, the family, you gotta, unfortunately you gotta leave them to their own devices and just do you. But moving on to the portion of the conversation with Theo and Tony, yeah, they're absolutely right. Like when it comes to like the difference in I like to call it deflationary like assets when it comes to America, and not this accounting definition. No, cars used to be made of metal, now they're made of aluminum and plastic. You know, buildings used to be made like structurally sound. Now they collapse if they get hit by a light breeze, right? And it's all profit. Like when you go over and eat the food in Japan, you are not getting sick from the food you're eating there. You getting sick from what you've been eating over here. And when I tell people that, they're just kind of like, "What? No." And I'm just kind of like, "Well, go over there and find out." But of course, they don't want to do that. They don't have $2,000 to just, you know, take their, or even $1,000 in some cases if you live on the West Coast. So I guess, and this is going to be the closing statement that I'm making, right? The reason I'm going so ham on this for anybody who's listening, again, I've already been to the end of the tunnel. I got lucky and got there at a relatively young age, right? Because I recently just turned 28, right? The end of the tunnel is perpetuity as far as like being like the milk for like your family milking you, basically. You this will not stop if you don't cut the umbilical cord. You have to go and you have to take the risk. So for me, I am projected to be there in the mid 2025 based on my most recent estimates.
Mm.
Um, God willing, because again, anything can happen. So unfortunately, I'm not going to make any promises. That's just disingenuous. Just know that every single movement that I make going forward is with the attempt to try and get out of here as soon as possible, because my body doesn't feel safe, my doesn't feel safe. Like literally, all of my worries just melt away the second I touch down on on the uh excuse me, on the nation of the rising sun. So I I can't do it anymore, y'all. I can't do it anymore. I'm so sick of it.
Keep your head
Mm.
up, man. Keep your head up.
Get you, bro.
Shout out to Mr. YG Society for the support. Hey guys, I was wondering, can I join IP Python course if I don't have any background in IT, but really just want to make that career into IT? I'm a 32-year-old black man. Yes, you can, bro. I'll be teaching Python from beginners to intermediate. So if you don't know anything in Python, you're in good hands here. I will personally teach you, okay, in that particular aspect there. So it's all good there, brother. So beginners, intermediate, I will teach Python, and more details coming. Okay. Shout out to Mr. Akeem for the support. I don't know anything about stocks and crypto. How would you recommend I start learning? So I say, brother, watch the live streams on the channel. We did a crypto a couple of weeks ago. You can also join the Patreon as well. I'm posting more about stocks and crypto on the Patreon too. And again, but you got to do your own personal research. And obviously, we're not financial advisors here, okay? But it is a good idea for brothers to be investing in stocks and crypto. So watch my content, join the Patreon, bro. Shout out to Mr. J Bones for the support. Appreciate you, brother. Your health will drastically increase when you travel. How's your health now, Tokyo 64?
Oh, brother, it's beautiful, brother. It's beautiful, beautiful.
Amazing. You see, brothers, please travel, please travel. Shout out to Mr. Umi Yedwa. Thank you, bro, for the incredible donation. Thank you, bro, for the support. Much appreciated, bro. It means a lot to me. Sorry I missed the stream. We'll watch it in Play Black. Salute to IP Theo and guest studying for my AWS security. This stream keeps me motivated. May you pass that exam in flying colors, brother. Well done, well done. Awesome, awesome. So we're down to our last 5 minutes. I would go on longer, but it's not a weekend. So I have work in the morning. I've got work in 4 hours actually. So Mr. Fives, is that your question being said, bro? Is it good? Or you have a question?
Oh no, I just have one more statement before I say goodnight.
Okay.
And this is it. So Tony and Theo, all that effort I put into my family, all that I just told y'all, right? The whole long spiel and whatever. What do you think what would happen if I would have asked them, hey yo, fam, I need your help. I need 5K. I need to go to Japan. What do you think they'd say to me?
I'll tell you right now, they're not going to give you nothing. They're going to make excuses for why they can't give you something, and then they're going to ask you to help them out.
Yeah,
they're going to let you talk for 1 minute, and then they're going to talk about themselves for 10 minutes.
I remember for myself, I didn't get any help, and then they were angry that I didn't pay bills around the house, and I was looking at them like, I'm gone. That's it. Like I'm not coming back, and I meant it, and that's what happened.
See that right there? That's all the reason y'all need. With that being said, y'all have a great night.
Take it easy, Fives. Peace out, bro. Shout out to Mr. Mufasa for the support. Appreciate you, brother. Respect to my brother IP and the panel, Mufasa and the building. Japan will see me in October for a month with my big bro, Tony. Just got to the stream. Yes, awesome, bro. Looking forward to hearing your adventure there. And anything you want to say to Mufasa, Tony?
Yes, brother. I'll talk to you a little bit after this, man. I can't wait to see you, brother. You know, we got our hotels, everything all launched up, man. So, yes, this brother is coming to Japan. Mufasa will be in Japan, and him and I will have some great intel for IP, brothers. Trust me. And Theo, you said you're going to be in November, dog. So hopefully you'll be there because Mufasa's going to be there until November 16th. I told you I'm going to be in Tokyo the 13th and 16th, dog. So if you can be there and meet up, you imagine the three of us in the same building? I'm going to cry, brother. I'm gonna cry on that thing.
I'll be there. I'll be there for Halloween. So, yeah, definitely gonna do Halloween. Yeah. So
we'll be there. Okay, you'll be 6 weeks. So you're gonna be there. So you will be there in the middle of November then when we're back, because we're gonna be in Fukuoka before we head back to Tokyo.
Oh, I love Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving in Tokyo, so I'm definitely gonna do it there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Shout out to Mr. Raul Black for the support. Appreciate it, Raul. Respect to IP Theo and the guests. Respect to you, Raul, for the support you give to the channel and for the intel, bro. Thank you, Raul. Much appreciated, bro. Fantastic. So, I want to say a huge thank you to Mr. Tony for his time today. Thank you very much, Tony, and of course Theo himself. So let's go to Theo first for his closing statement or question. Fire away, Theo.
Again, you notice how happy black men are when they're in Japan? Smiles. We can't stop smiling. We're always happy. We're healthy. We're having a great time. You know how miserable it is? Like after this live stream, I'm still in Austin. Guys, don't think twice. As fast as you can, particularly if you have a 4-year degree, as fast as you can, go to Japan. And then work on transferring things over and make that life grow there, learn Japanese there, do all the basics and get yourself together. It took me 2 years to really get solid in Japan when I went there. But I kept on working on it. You guys, it's not that hard to do. You will look at the West as an uncivilized, barbaric society after even 6 months in Japan. You'll be like, why did I ever live in America or in the West? All right. Anyway, thank you, Tony. I will see you. I'll make sure I'll be there with you guys. Okay.
Thanks,
Hold
brother.
on.
Love you, man. Love you always.
See ya.
Hold on there, Theo.
Yep.
Tony Glover. Tony, give me a thumbs up, Tony. Can I bring you on? Camera on, is that cool? Camera on or camera off? Camera on. Give me a thumbs up, brother. Camera on. Okay, let me bring in Tony Glover because I think he might have a question. I think he's been patient. Okay, Tony. 2 questions max, Tony, because I'm running on Duracell batteries here.
Yeah, right.
He's on fumes right now, brother.
Oh yeah, man. You guys put it down. Hey, IP. Yeah, it's all good, man. It's been a while since I've been up here. But at any event, yeah, I like what you're doing. This is gonna be real quick. You guys inspired me a whole lot. I enjoy listening to all you guys' lives and stuff like that. Tony, Phil, you guys put it down as always and things and stuff. So I do look forward to going to Japan. I'm working on my Japanese. Got my book right now. Konnichiwa, Genki desu ka.
Yo, Kage-san a day.
Yukuri hanashite kudasai.
Yeah, Jose.
But that's
Nungo
all,
Jesse.
IP.
Nungo Jesse.
I just wanted to say that. So keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm back. I listen to all your lives and stuff, man. So keep doing what you're doing, man. You got my full support.
Cool.
Thanks, black man. Thanks, black man. Thanks, black man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank y'all. Thank you
Save
so
yourself,
much.
black man.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm out.
Take
Peace.
easy,
Thank
bro.
you.
Okay. I'm dropping.
Thanks, brother.
I gotta go to
Thank you,
work.
Tony.
See you guys.
Thank you, Theo. Tony,
Thanks, brother.
Tony, thank you very much, Tony, for coming up here, brother. Spending your time here to give intel to brothers. I'm sure we'll have you get on. I have a lot of questions. I'm sure you wanted to say more, but I'm sure we'll have you on the channel again in the future, brother. So, Tony,
Yes,
do you have
brother.
any closing statements, brother, you want to add before we end the stream?
Yeah, I just want to say, I use the word black man a lot, man, because I love the badge of being called the black man. That's why I tell brothers, what up, black man? Because to me, it's a special honor for a brother. I just want to say, man, young brothers, I wanted to say one thing, last thing here, because I know I said a lot, but to the brothers that are retired, that are living on, like, say, with a Social Security check, or whatever, which ain't enough in the States. Brothers, you can live in Japan on $1,000 a month. If you need the cash to get over here, sell all your stuff in your house. Get rid of everything, right? And get over to Japan. That's how worth it is to be here, brothers. Get rid of everything. It's worth your happiness. It's worth the rest of your life. That's all I got to say, brother, on that. And I really want to appreciate your IP. Thanks for having me up on your channel today, dog.
Yo, thank you, Tony. Much appreciated, brother. It's been a pleasure interviewing you again, Tony. And again, I wish you success, health, wealth, and prosperity in your time in Japan, bro. You deserve it. Thank you very much, Tony. So, brothers, thank you very, very much for watching. Again, if you want to support the channel after the stream, you can hit the PayPal. Join the Patreon to book your IT consultations. Remember, Python course is coming on July 2024, and the sign-ups will open at the beginning of July. Don't you miss it. Spaces go quick. Okay, so don't you miss that. Once again, it's been a pleasure. Thank you to everyone that supported the channel today via the super chats. Thank you to everyone who supported the channel via the likes. Like the video, share it around, get yourself to Japan as soon as possible, and I'll see you brothers on the next video. Peace.